Let's get that Seattle Wednesday. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. It is 2:02. Your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. You know how to get a hold of us. Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. You want to leave us a mic drop via the 100% free 101 ESPN app, you can. Leave us a mic drop, anything we're talking about today. And, of course, you can check us out on the Air Alliance Team YouTube channel at 101 ESPN STL. They're affectionately known as the Snake Pit.
Yes, they are.
Snake Pit.
We love all of our listeners.
Damn right. Yes. Let's start off with the Blues. They don't play until tomorrow night when they got the Canucks pregame right here on 101 ESPN starting at 6 o'clock. But, Jamie?
Yeah.
Looks like the second power play looking a little different for tomorrow.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of a change to it, and I like it. I was on the opening drive this morning with Randy and Brooke, and they'd asked me about Colton Parayko and the power play and things like that. And look, leading up to this point, Anthony, you know this, I've never been a big hey, Colton Parayko's an offensive guy. Hey, Colton Parayko's a power play quarterback. Everybody gets enamored by the 105-mile-an-hour shot he took in 2017, by the way. 2017.
It's been a minute.
It's a hard shot, though.
It's a really hard shot.
It was a big shot.
It was a huge shot on an empty net with no players on the ice. Either way, it was. It had a ton of velocity behind it, but then... And I poke fun at it, not for Colton Parayko's sake, because he can still bring the heat. I poke fun at it because everybody just figured that automatically translates into being a power play specialist and scoring goals in the NHL. Mm-hmm. The next Al MacInnis. No, there's a reason Al MacInnis is in the Hall of Fame. It's because the way he shot the puck, he had deception. He knew when to shoot it. He could knock a fly out of the air with accuracy at 100+ miles an hour. Mm-hmm. Those guys are unicorns. They're very unique players.
Well, that's why everybody kept calling him Chris Pronger.
Well, they tried that too, Anthony. They said because he's 6'6", that's Chris Pronger.
Yeah.
No, it's not. Chris Pronger's another Hall of Famer. How about we just let Colton Parayko be who he is? Because it's working out pretty good right now. He's playing pretty good hockey. The best hockey I've seen him play as a lead character. And I say it that way because Jay Bouwmeester was his partner in 2018-2019 when they had that massive run to the Stanley Cup Championship, and those two guys were epic together. But you had Jay Bouwmeester, who's borderline Hall of Famer, moving forward. You don't have that now. Nick Leddy's great, and he's playing very well right now, but you don't have Jay Bouwmeester. But back to the power play discussion on this one. Colton Parayko, having had the ability to call almost every game this year, he has been the most effective puck shooter from the blue line. Justin Falk leads with sheer volume to the net, but Colton Parayko has 6 goals. And the biggest thing is everybody gets enamored by this 105-mile-an-hour slap shot. Colton Parayko has 1 goal by slap shot this year. The rest are wrist shots. And if you look at Colton Parayko's stick and talking to him and working with him in the summer, his stick has got more flex than ever. And the reason being is people nowadays, they get in the shot lane. Like in the 90s, early 2000s, you could have a guy like Chara or was it Shea Weber dropping the big slap shot from the point all night long, like Lionel Richie did. And you don't have that now. Guy winds up for a slap shot, there's a stick or a body in the way. Wind up, stick or body in the way. So what you have to do if you watch the best defensemen in the league offensively, the Cale Makars, the Quinn Hughes, the Erik Karlssons, what do they do best? They fake a shot and then walk the blue line. They change the shot lane either by dragging the puck or skating the puck forward, and then they wrist it through at about 85 miles an hour on target for a deflection or a rebound.
That's all Cale Makar did against the Blues in one playoff series.
Every time.
Every time.
You couldn't stop him.
No.
It was like trying to cover a ghost out there. And he got the puck through every time. Brent Burns, what's the one thing that he's really good at? He gets the puck to the net. He never gets it deflected, never gets it blocked. So Colton Parayko has evolved his game now to where when he gets the puck, watch him. He's moving. He's changing the shot lane. He's not just shooting the puck hoping it doesn't hit something. And the result of that is he's got 6 goals. Now he's generating more offense, and now he's going to get an opportunity on the power play.
Watching him play last year in comparison to this year, I felt like he was hurt. He looked like he was dealing with some back issue. Like when a player is dealing with a back issue or lower body, something along the lines where it just looks different. He looks healthy now. He looks more comfortable now, and he looks like the player that I think that the St. Louis Blues fans have been wanting to see from him for a number of years.
Yeah, look at him skate, man. Like, he's a one-man breakout, and I'm not even joking about that. He takes 2 strides, and he's out of the end.
Mm-hmm.
He takes 2 strides, and he joins the rush. He's up, available offensively. And then, Carey, you weren't part of the show when I've said this a number of times, but I had the opportunity to talk to Connor McDavid last year and asked him just about playing against certain guys and whatnot, not even really Blues related. And he offered out of nowhere to tell me that Colton Parayko is one of the hardest guys for him to play against.
Really?
He said because of the height and the reach and his speed, it makes it very difficult to get around him.
Yeah.
He
Good
said
defense is important.
it is, Janet. She knows. She watches all the games. But Colton Parayko is able to gap up. He's able to keep pace to a certain extent with Connor McDavid. And when he can't keep pace, he has to reach.
Right.
And so when you think about the best player in the world saying that Colton Parayko is one of the hardest guys to play against, like, you have to kind of respect that. And you're right, he was injured.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what the injury was. I don't know.
Looked bad.
If
I mean,
it's
it just
upper
looks
body,
slow.
lower body,
Sluggish.
But I do know he's healthy now.
Yeah.
And you can tell he's playing really good hockey.
Yeah, he is. We're going to get into this at some point about the NHL All-Star game, maybe a lock for the Blues, maybe somebody that you want to see in. I'll just answer now. It's Colton Parayko. I don't think anybody's had a better first half of the season for the Blues than Colton Parayko.
You'll get some pushback.
From who?
Robert Thomas in his camp.
What's he done?
But it is fun, though, to actually have a couple of guys that you can talk about. You know, when you go back last year, like, we're reaching for an all-star here. Like, you almost got the, not to be disrespectful because players earn that opportunity, but it was almost like, okay, we have to pick a guy from the Blues because they weren't having a great year.
Right.
So this year, though, you can circle 2 guys for sure that are at the top of the food chain. Both are having really good seasons. Both should have the opportunity to represent the Blue Note at the All-Star game. And it's fun. It's fun to see that. And for me, I like look, Robert Thomas last year had a good season. The year before had a good season. For me, it's fun to watch the comeback story. And I think Colton Parayko is a bit of a comeback story. I don't think a bit. I think he's a lot of a comeback story because how many people in the St. Louis area were trying to trade him? Just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's overpaid. That contract's an albatross. Really? At 23, 24 minutes a game playing against the best players in the world, $6.5 million is a freaking steal.
Yep.
2 years from now, you're going to be laughing that you were able to get him for $6.5 million a year.
The one thing that kept coming up when people would talk about trading Colton Parayko, like every team in the league is looking for a guy like Colton Parayko.
Oh, they lined up down the freaking street, Carey.
And you got one, and you want to get rid of him because he's not playing. And again, when you watched him last year, it just looked like he wasn't moving nearly as fast or as quickly as he is now. He didn't look as comfortable last season. It looked like a back injury for me. That's what it felt like, just watching him, just reaching and not being able to do some of the things that when your back is healthy, you are capable of doing. So when people were saying, let's trade him, get rid of him, yeah, there's going to be a bunch of people lined up for that guy to be able to do what he does at the level that he does it.
Yeah, 100%. And I've said this before, too. The moment you trade Colton Parayko, you're looking for Colton Parayko. And you don't have him. Most teams don't have him. So we got a text real quick just asking about the change on the power play units. The big change or the big addition is Colton Parayko onto the second power play unit where Justin Falk was lined up. Tough to get a read on everything else because Torrey Krug had a maintenance day and Nick Leddy took reps with the first power play unit. So you don't really know what to expect there. But Colton Parayko was added to the second power play unit today.
Should he have a new partner defensively?
Who?
Parayko?
Why the hell would you give him a new partner?
You'll find out next in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. DK and Ferrario, you can listen to them middays here on 101 ESPN from 11 to 2. And I know that the three of us were listening, either driving in or listening back in the office. And Jamie Rivers heard something that Alex Ferrario said that, how do I put this? It got Jamie interested. This is what Ferrario said about Scott Perunovich potentially playing alongside Colton Parayko.
I don't think it's crazy to comp a Scott Perunovich to a Quinn Hughes. I know we talked about it a little earlier, but you're never going to know if he is that until you put him up into that spot. And frankly, when Quinn Hughes took off and is having this season was when they acquired Philip Ronick from the Detroit Red Wings. And I know that sounds insane to say, but sometimes those types of players just need some stability. And I think, one, Scott Perunovich needs to have more confidence instilled in him, and I think he's getting that now with Drew Bannister. You're putting him in a bit better positioning, but they clicked the same way that I believe Colton Parayko and Scott Perunovich could click.
I hope they try it.
And I think that's the one piece that I'm like, because I agree with what you guys said. I don't think they have an identity, and I think you do need to give this some time to see them kind of mold into the players that you're hoping they become. The puck-moving defenseman that pairs with the stay-at-home guy. That's the one I think that you hope Perunovich is him, but you're gonna have to quit babying him and see what happens when you do try it. And you're gonna have to try it at some point because he's the guy for me that. You look at Parayko, I think he's finally solidified himself as that, just clearly the number one defenseman. Like, there were, the last couple of years, there were spurts, but it wasn't consistent. This year, it's been consistent. Now it's about finding his partner, and can you get an offensive-minded one? And I think you're right. I think there is a chance that Scott Perunovich could be kind of like a Quinn Hughes. I mean, you're seeing it. The analytic numbers tell you about it. Now let's see what it looks like and see him try and mold into becoming that kind of player. And again, that's going to take 2 years, but you got to start throwing him up in the lineup with Colton Parayko to find out.
Can I go real quick? Because Jamie is going to go, but I've only been working here for a few days, and I learned something about Jamie. Jamie is like the Jay-Z, Lil Wayne of radio. He doesn't write anything down. He just goes. His takes are all here. He's written a few things down. So
he's like, let me get this right.
I definitely, sir, go ahead. You have had it.
Okay, so where do we start? Where do we unpack this? Okay, so one, I love the enthusiasm of Alex Ferrario regarding Scott Perunovich. And you should be excited about a young player that has had the accolades that Scott Perunovich has as a college player, winning the Hobie Baker Award, which is comparable to the Heisman in football. So he was the best college hockey player in the nation, which is a tremendous honor. One thing he's not is Quinn Hughes. And I understand at the end of that audio there, they said, Tanner specifically said, in a couple of years, maybe that's where he gets. Maybe. But Quinn Hughes, go back a couple of years, was still miles ahead of where Scott Perunovich is right now. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean Scott Perunovich can't close the gap. Quinn Hughes is a heavy comparison at this one right now because Quinn Hughes is not only the best defenseman on his team, he might be one of the best defensemen in the NHL. So that's swinging high, which is fine. Everybody should have a good comparable. Here's where I run into the problem of pairing Scott Perunovich with Colton Parayko. Guys, when we just talked last segment, Colton Parayko viewed as one of the best shutdown defensemen in the NHL. Top 5, I think, in the NHL as far as singularly being able to shut guys down. We watched it against the Colorado Avalanche. Nathan McKinnon had a 19-game point streak going into that game. Colton Parayko paired against him pretty much all night. No points. We watch him, Connor McDavid talking about how he's one of the best or toughest guys to play against. Guess how you make Colton Parayko not so hard to play against?
When he's got to worry about Scott Perunovich being his partner?
You put a guy like Scott Perunovich as his partner.
Because of the inexperience factor?
Because of the defensive inability yet. And so I compared this to like clipping a bird's wings. Why would you do that? Right now, Colton Parayko and Nick Leddy together are playing every single night against the best matchups in the NHL, and they're shutting them down for the most part, limiting opportunity, frustrating them every single time. And I watched it from the ice level the other night. And again, this isn't a shot at Scott Perunovich, just where we're at right now, is Nathan McKinnon and Mikko Rantanen ended up on the ice 3 separate times against Perunovich and Colton Parayko. And when they had a line rush up the ice, they changed puck side specifically to attack Scott Perunovich's side. So what is Colton Parayko doing on that play then? Nothing.
He's not involved.
Yeah, right.
He's the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
He's over there all by himself because they're not attacking that side. Well, let's go to the side where we know we can do some damage. Mm-hmm. And so we talk about confidence. You don't get confidence by being in the first pair. You don't. In fact, you lose confidence quickly because the play happens so fast. And talking to Scott Perunovich, a week ago?
Yeah.
What did he say? He said, oh, yeah, you were on with me.
Yep.
You weren't here. You were here. I forget a lot of these things.
My God, I didn't talk to
He
Scott.
said plays happen so fast at the NHL level. He's like, you blink, and they've made 2 plays, and it's in the back of your net. Paraphrasing, obviously, on that one. But so why would you do that?
Yeah.
I just don't understand it. Now, before we dive into the second half of this, is you think Colton Parayko's a stay-at-home defenseman? He's not.
No, and he shouldn't be.
But he leads the rush. In fact, he's one of the best up-ice defensemen the Blues have. His percentages of successful plays entering into the offensive zone and neutral zone play are the highest on the team. The success rate of every time he becomes part of the offense is the highest on the team. Now, the sheer volume, Torrey Krug's up the ice all night long. But it doesn't mean it equals to success. When Colton Parayko jumps up, most of the time, it's a successful play crossing the blue line or the puck gets across the red line and into the offensive zone. That is part of the success rate. So if we want to go analytics versus the eye test, the analytics do support what I'm seeing out there from Colton Parayko. And so if you put him with a player like Scott Perunovich and you're telling Colton Parayko now to be the defensive defenseman, well, the problem is Scott Perunovich is unable to do what Colton Parayko can do right now. He's unable to drive the offense up the ice. He's unable to be a one-man breakout. He's unable to have that success rate right now. Maybe 4 weeks from now he can. Maybe 4 months, 4 years, whatever it is. He'll get there. And I understand the thought of, well, you got to play him. You got to find out. You got to build the confidence. Great. Let's play with Marco Scandella. Why? Because they play against third and fourth liners every night. You want Scott Perunovich to drive the offense? That's how you do it. You put him out there against lesser players. And then now you start to spot duty him in from time to time with Colton Parayko. And when do you do it? It's simple. Offensive zone faceoff. The lowest risk place to start on a shift against some of the other team's top lines. You win the faceoff, Colton Parayko, Scott Perunovich, they go to work with Robert Thomas, Buchnevich, Carey, they're zipping it around, all this stuff. Then players get a little bit tired, puck turnover. Now it's a little more manageable to play defense rather than starting a shift midway through or even in the defensive zone. This is called setting your players up for success, which is what the Blues have been trying to do with Scott Perunovich. So overall, the thought process of 4 years down the road or 3 years down the road of Perunovich playing with Parayko, it's a nice thought. But I don't like it because it's at the expense of what Colton Parayko can do best and what he brings to the table.
Yeah, you're almost weakening a strength to give somebody an opportunity. Yeah. Or try to jumpstart the development, and that was one of the things that Craig Berube talked about after he was let go. He was talking about trying to develop players while also in the midst of a retool. And oh, by the way, you still better win a bunch of games too. Yeah, that has to be difficult. And it's funny though when you're talking about Parayko on one side and Perunovich on the other. It reminds me of a corner. Yeah, Duran Bland, the corner for Dallas. Like, this kid's amazing. He's got all these picks. Yeah, they're going at him every time.
They're not going against the other guy.
Yeah,
he's really good.
How many picks did Darrell Rivas have? Not many. Don't want to go that way.
Not going near him.
But so it's you almost weaken one half of the ice. Football's different, obviously, because you've got one corner. That's at least he's locking down half the field. It's not like that in hockey, but it kind of reminded me of that.
And I just look at the pairing right now of Leddy and Parayko. They're playing very well together, so much so that Colton Parayko can get up the ice, and Nick Leddy, he can skate with almost anybody in the NHL. Scott Perunovich is a quick, shifty player. When it comes to all-out, straight-out speed down the ice, he's not as fast as Nick Leddy, and nor is he as experienced. So if I'm the Blues, I'm absolutely not experimenting with Scott Perunovich up on the top pair. Not now. If the season gets out of reach and things start slipping away, at that point, all bets are off.
Yeah, sure.
Put whoever you want, wherever you want. Play the guy on the power play, the penalty, because you need to, one, find out what you have. Two, get him those reps. But right now, Scott Perunovich is just starting to scratch the surface on playing with confidence, playing in that third pairing with Marco Scandella, who, by the way, Marco Scandella, in talking to him, he said, I just let Scott Perunovich do what he has to do. I read and react off of him. I stay back there. I'm the pillar. I'll go get the puck in the corner. He can jump up at the offense. That's what you need. Colton Parayko, if you make Colton Parayko that player, you're you're cannibalizing what Colton Parayko brings to the table. Why do that?
Yeah.
Let him play. Colton Parayko is in the All-Star discussion. You want him as your All-Star. I don't disagree. If he had to carry a young defenseman along the way, I don't think he's in the same spot. Mm-hmm. So my opinion, and only my opinion, is you wait on the process of putting a young offensive-minded player who's learning the game defensively. You wait to put him with a Colton Parayko full-time down the road when either he's ready for the challenge or that the season is so far out of reach that it doesn't matter anymore.
That's Jamie Rivers. That's Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. It's a fast line on 101 ESPN. Blues going to get it going again tomorrow night against the Canucks. Again, pregame at 6 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. Where are the Cardinals not being aggressive with bullpen arms? You got other
they
teams
don't care
being
to win.
aggressive. Exactly. 618. That's next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. We just got done talking about Colton Parayko and Scott Perunovich. They will be in action tomorrow night with the Blues taking on the Canucks. Pregame starts at 6 o'clock. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. Jeremy Rutherford, our Blues insider from The Athletic, will join the show at 4:30, so stay tuned for that. Once again, Blues Canucks tomorrow night. Pregame starting at 6. Puck drop is at 7. Coming up next, why are the Cardinals not being aggressive for bullpen arms? We are going to dive into that in the Fast Lane coming your way next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at londoff.com and londoffautoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Is Mosaic trying to lose?
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. So the I don't know, other teams are making moves. Other teams that are trying to win, boys. Cardinals
trying to win.
They're set.
Anthony?
What,
they
the
got
division?
3 starters.
Anthony,
Didn't you see the 3 starters?
What do you mean they needed 3 starters, Carey?
What do you want from
This is like you saying, you know what, I gotta go to the grocery store and need toilet paper. Of course you do.
what year is That's an important
What
statement.
year is it?
Yes.
I mean,
The pandemic showed us
there you
nothing
go.
else.
What year is
That
it?
you need the poop tickets, okay?
Yeah, you certainly
I'll tell
do.
you that much.
Anthony does this thing where he likes to compare everything to grocery stores.
Not everything.
And
The Cardinals.
content within the grocery store.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know what? At least Anthony's hungry.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Darn right I am.
championships.
So
Yeah.
the question
I'm not
I have-
shopping just for toilet paper.
No.
Yeah, you're shopping for ramen noodles.
And makers.
You know,
By the
Jamie,
way,
yes.
makers.
I'm sorry, the Cardinals.
Guys, just so you know, Makers Mark, unbelievable deals and discounts right now for Makers Mark. Over
Where can you get that?
You can get that at any of your local dirt cheaps. There you go. Anthony, the question I have for you is the signing period over? Did we miss it? Is it closed?
You know, I think
I don't know how that.
I think it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I think
nobody
free
else.
agent. No,
No more free agency.
So where's
until
Montgomery and
that's
Snell
it.
going to play? They just don't get to play
they
this
don't
year?
get to play. Yeah,
Oh.
it's for
And Josh Hader too, because he's
Oh, yeah.
he's
free
still
agent.
available.
That
Right.
sucks.
So
yeah.
they're just out for 2024 because free agency period has ended.
It's kind of like college football. You know, once there's an opening.
Transfer portal.
Yeah, transfer
Open and
portal
close.
open and closes, and that's it. Yeah.
Okay.
At least that's how the Cardinals are thinking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, we got text messages yesterday into the Air Comfort Service text line from listeners that became frustrated. They're like, hey, you know, you guys are just all roses and stuff like that for the Blues, and you guys crap on the Cardinals. We're sorry. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, there it is.
Are we sorry or are we sorry?
We're sorry.
We're sorry, eh?
Yeah.
You can check that
yeah.
bad boy out on the Air Alliance team YouTube.
Nailed it.
Got a T-shirt from my girlfriend. It says sorry.
Nice. The Canadian.
It's very
That's what I
sweet.
say a lot.
Maple Leaf there.
Say sorry, honey. Sorry again.
I'm not gonna sit here and say and spin it with this Cardinals bullpen and say, oh, it's fine, it's ready to go. They may have some upside, but do you feel good about this? Because you blew 73 games last year.
No, I don't. I look at
Don't check the math on it.
bullpen.
No, but it was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot.
We understand.
I don't think 73, but it was a few.
Close.
Felt like it.
20 something, I think.
They led the majors
in blown
saves.
They were pretty
Yeah.
bad.
Not
When
great.
I look at the bullpen, I think it's about who you trust down there. So for me, I mean, last season, we're going to say we trusted JoJo Romero. I did. I think he did an outstanding job. I don't know that you trust Andre Palante that much.
Ooh.
I don't know. No, you're shaking your head. No for him.
2 years, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, yeah, I trust that one. Last year,
I don't-
He's fighting for a job, in my opinion.
I don't know if do you trust Ryan Helsley? I mean, he's got the sweet
trust him every
appearance,
other day.
entrance music.
Only one game at a time.
I tried.
One day at a time.
Yeah.
It's a good show. It's a hell of a show. I think he has a slight allergy. His hand to the ball for 2 days.
2 days in a row. Okay.
Yeah.
What about Gallegos? You trust him?
I do, but he's coming off an okay year.
Okay.
He
So
wasn't as good as what he was in previous years.
who else in the bullpen do you look at and say you trust? And so I am in agreement with you. I think there is a need, there is a need for some bullpen arms. They need to find someone that you can trust in that role. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like him or felt like he was not as good as he should have been. Jordan Hicks, for me, I did trust. I think that Jordan Hicks felt like the type of player, Jamie, you've been around these guys. To me, in his mind, he feels like he's a superstar. He's either a starter or a closer. He's not a middle reliever. He's not a late inning guy. He's either starting the damn thing or he's finishing it. And I think that's how his mind works. And I think if you put him in one of those roles, you'll probably get the best version of him. Do the Cardinals feel a need to go out and re-sign him? I don't know. Josh Hader is out there as well. He's a really good player.
If you had your choice, Carey, Hader or
Josh Hader
or Hicks?
Yeah, I'm going to go Josh Hader.
Why not both?
Okay,
because one of them is
Hader. I'll answer. Hader.
Okay.
What about both?
Well,
because who's closing? Hader.
Why would? Yeah, but I mean, you could throw.
But again, Jordan Hicks. When I watch him, and I've seen. I told you all this, and Jamie, I've said this. Superstar athletes have blinders on. They don't see anything outside of what is. They don't care. They're not listening. It doesn't matter. Because only thing that matters is what's right here, and that's what the hell I want, what I want. And in my opinion, when I watch Jordan Hicks, he wants to be a closer or a starter. He's probably not going to be a starter.
No.
He's going to be a closer. And that's, to me, what it feels like he wants. So if you were to sign both of them, and you have to know the players that you're signing. You can't just assume, oh, this guy's going to fit here. You have to understand, you have to manage personalities as much as you have to manage the player and what his capabilities are. And so if you're getting both of those guys, well, one of them's a closer and one of them's not. And one of them's going to be really pissed off and one of them's not.
Right.
So that's why I don't think you can get
tough.
both.
Yeah, I see what Carey's saying. You got too many cooks in the kitchen then for the same job. You got Helsley, you've got Hicks, you've got Hader.
Well, Jamie, you can close the 7th inning. Carey, you can close the 8th inning, and Marsh, you can close the 9th inning.
I'd rather have too many cooks than no cooks at all because then we're not cooking anything.
And here's the thing: one of them's going to get hurt. The odds are one of them's going to get hurt.
Stay positive.
It's the bullpen, so one of them's not going to have a big year. Seriously, I mean, the bullpen is the most volatile. The most volatile position group in all of baseball is the bullpen. Andre Ponce is a perfect example of that. 2 years ago, my man could come in any situation, get you a ground ball. Last year, you were wincing to see if he could get through any inning. So for me, why not throw more cooks into the kitchen, if we're going to use that analogy, improve your bullpen, knowing that the bottom somewhere is going to fall out at some point. As opposed to saying, well, we get to the trade deadline. I'm so sick of that argument. Well, what if they do something at the trade deadline? You got to get to the damn trade line first. How'd that work out for you last year? Well, you could add a starter at the deadline.
Last year was like you had to get to May.
Yeah, seriously. Barely scratching, clawing, just trying to get there.
We got a text from 314. Of the 45 to 50 bullpen arms that were free agents this year, only 5 of them have signed. Is there such thing as patience on talk radio? Because we sure need it.
No, absolutely. Are you kidding me? No. In sports talk radio, patience? No, we got a 4-hour show to fill.
Well, Woo Suck Go is nearing a deal with the Padres per John Heyman.
Souk. You added a C there. Souk.
We got to be careful here, Andrew.
Yeah, Woo Souk Go. We're still on FM radio. We didn't advance to Sirius.
Yeah. My bad.
Or even that deal that, what's his face got? Sleeveless guy.
Pat McAfee. Oh, Pat McAfee.
Oh, I think that's Bill Belichick.
No, not Belichick.
Anthony, I see a lot of those guys every day.
Yeah, but that's
Carey,
at the
what's
gym.
the rule on no sleeves at the gym? Just out of curiosity.
I think it's a little, it's kind of strange.
It's the biggest Diamondback move I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What's your opinion, all of you, on guys that wear the hoodies without sleeves?
Nah, I don't know if I have a problem with that.
No, to work out in, though.
For me, I usually have long sleeve shirts on when I go to there. You don't need to know what I got going on. Eventually, you'll see it if you get close enough. Stay back.
You like to keep the people wondering.
Yeah, keep them wondering. It's a long sleeve shirt. Maybe it's something there. Maybe it's not. But don't try. You'll figure it out if you do.
When they see you putting up weight, they'll be like, oh, okay.
Okay.
I go hoodie to start the workout. Then I do get a little hot. And sometimes I'll leave it on if I want a good sweat. Other times I take it off, go T-shirt. But certainly you have sleeves on it.
Yeah.
I always go T-shirt.
Yeah. So I just don't understand the no sleeves. Like, unless you're Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and whatever the hell you want to wear is fine because you can back it up.
Yeah, go for it.
So when I see the guys that shouldn't be sleeveless. And anyways, I don't know how we got here, but it's just a pet peeve of mine.
Pat McAfee.
Pat McAfee.
There you go.
Yeah, he can pull it off because he's not even at the gym. He doesn't care.
No. He's got a lot of money now, so.
No, really?
Yeah. May have to defend himself against Jimmy Kimmel. But,
No,
I think that's Aaron Rodgers' problem.
It was on his show, so I'm sure there's a reaction. Yeah, he's like, you know what? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And there was no, I feel that you feel that way. That was just a full-out apology. Yeah, for those that don't know, since we're talking in code here, Aaron Rodgers took a swipe at Jimmy Kimmel.
Swipe.
Yeah, putting him on a certain list that Jimmy Kimmel would not want to be on, nor would anybody.
On that one.
Yep. And Pat McAfee said, "Yeah, sorry about that, Jimmy. Sorry that happened."
I think it was just him trying to crap talk and have some fun.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
You don't do that.
You got something?
Yeah, guys, not exactly breaking news because it was 7 minutes ago, but this is shocking. John Harbaugh announces that Lamar Jackson won't play Saturday versus the Steelers.
I kind of knew that. Go Steelers. Here we go.
There you go. Yeah, Ravens are locked into that number one seed. So
Rudolph, baby. Let's
Patrick
go.
Mahomes,
Rudolph or bust.
Mahomes will not play either on Sunday.
Are they locked in at the 3?
I think they're locked in at 3.
Okay.
And then somebody else won't start either.
Matthew Stafford.
Stafford won't start?
Yeah,
Oh, that's right, 'cause it's going to be Carson Wentz.
Who
Dude, Carey's like,
Carson Palmer?
yeah.
Are you going to be wearing your socks?
No, probably not.
Really?
Yeah, those days are over. Yeah.
Yeah, some Lion socks, some Falcon socks.
No, he has
BT at one
Carson Wentz
point
socks.
got me some Carson Wentz socks because I was still a believer of Carson
Papa
Wentz.
Wentz.
Then he got to Indy, and I go, I'm wrong. I'm definitely wrong on this guy.
Really bad, man.
All right, it's Fastlane on 101 ESPN. Speaking of the Eagles, though, or a team that Carson Wentz used to play for, boy, they've got some issues, apparently. A.J. Brown being called out for not being a good teammate. How much do we believe, though, and are the Eagles in trouble? That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, new year, new you, new car, right? Head down to Auto Center's Nissan Herculaneum. Check out all that they have to offer. And boy, they've got a lot to offer. If you're looking for a brand new vehicle, no problem. They've got them in Herculaneum, and they've got them in one spot, too. They got one location, one dealership. It's still, it feels like it's brand new when you walk in there. Clean, comfortable. The people out there are outstanding at Auto Center's Nissan. But they have over 700 vehicles on their one lot. That's it. You don't have to drive to different locations to find the car that you're looking for. No, if you find it at AutoCentersNissan.com, you can find it at the dealership when it comes to Auto Centers Nissan. They've got a 30-day return promise. Within 30 days, they feel confident that you're going to love the vehicle, but within 30 days, if you want to bring it back, they will refund you. Or they'll set you up with something else that you've been looking at. When it comes to Auto Centers Nissan Herculaneum, they also have the lifetime complimentary warranty when it comes to new Nissans. Boy, you talk about peace of mind with that. Not only the 30-day return promise, but the lifetime complimentary warranty. Plenty to choose from. New Nissans, pre-owned vehicles, all makes, all different models. You're going to love the sales environment. You're going to love the experience. Start at AutoCentersNissan.com. Then head down to Herculaneum. Tell them Stalter sent you. It's Auto Centers Nissan.
The Morning After Daily Podcast. One of the longest-running podcasts in St. Louis.
Great Michael Rappaport. Good, how are you?
Good. I mean, I'm better on the radio if I get.
So the Philadelphia Inquirer came out with a report today that A.J. Brown apparently is a huge problem within the Eagles locker room. A.J. Brown also apologized to Eagles teammates and addressed his recent silence, talking about how we're all frustrated. Now, there have been teammates from the Eagles, teammates of A.J. Brown, that have come out and say, yeah, no, he's organized team activities. You don't know him. He's a great leader, all that. But I brought this up, Jamie. I brought this up to you, and Carey. I'm interested in your thoughts too. And I don't know if we ever touched on this in the Gridiron guys. Don't download the podcast until we do another one. It's been a while. But there was always a reason why Bill Walsh built his team a certain way, and everybody remembers, of course, Jerry Rice. But Bill Walsh didn't start with Jerry Rice. Mm-hmm. He knew that if you brought in a number one wide receiver, the offense was going to be dictated by that number one receiver. Why? Because if you're a number one receiver, guys, you're always open.
You hit 7-11. Always open.
Every snap.
You could be triple covered. It didn't matter.
The ball is thrown, and why are you throwing it anywhere else?
Right.
That's the mindset.
And if you're, even if you're Jalen Hurts, you're still, okay, you've got that in your ear. Yeah. Look at what's going on like in Seattle with DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
DK Metcalf is one of several stud skill position players that the Seahawks have. Tyler Lockett, Kenneth Walker. You can't just run it through the number one wide receiver. So Bill Walsh's idea of I'll add the receiver position is important. I'm going to add it last, though. Mm-hmm. Once I've got the defense, I've got the O-line, obviously I got the quarterback, I've got a sound running game, then you can fit in.
Yeah.
And I wonder if we're seeing this a little bit in Philly, despite the fact that they had all that success a year ago.
I think that as I said, the number one receivers, those superstar guys, they only see what they see. They see me beating this defensive back. I'm open. Why aren't you throwing me the ball? I turned around. I don't care that you're laying on your back and got hit in the face. What difference does that make? Throw the ball quicker.
Let me straighten your helmet so you can see me.
You can't see me open? No, actually, I couldn't. There was a 300-pound man hitting me in the face. I couldn't see you. But that becomes the mindset. And I think that, this report about A.J. Brown and him being an issue in that locker room, I can understand it because I think all number one receivers always want the ball. And then as a quarterback, not that you want to get your guy the ball because obviously when I get him the ball, he's going to make a play. But you got a couple of other guys that can make plays as well. Dallas Goedert is one. Devontae Smith is another. You got DeAndre Swift in the backfield who can make plays when given the opportunity. And so I can see how a team could feel that way or someone on the outside looking in could feel that way. But if the teammates are saying he's not the issue, then you kind of have to go with that. Mm-hmm. But I think to make things better for this team, if you are A.J. Brown, because he is a bit demonstrative on the field when he's throwing his hands up or when he's complaining or and we don't know what the frustration is about, but I can kind of see that you felt like you were open there and the ball went the other way. It's what it looks like. Mm. And so if I'm the quarterback and it looks like that to me, I'm sure it probably looks like that to him as well, which can cause a bit of an issue in that locker room.
So the way I look at it is a player like that can become the problem without malicious intent.
Yes.
And what I mean by that, and I'm sure you guys understand, is they're great players. They want the ball every single time, but they don't think of the repercussions of them constantly wanting the ball. There's a couple things that happen. One, your quarterback feels like he's being called out all the freaking time. The OC probably feels like he's being called out every freaking time because you're not getting the ball to me. Why are you not designing plays to me? I'm open every freaking time, right? Okay, fine. And then what about your teammates?
Yeah.
The guys that the other receivers, the tight end, the running back who's the check down option that's wide open for a carry of 7-8 yards. These guys start to resent you because you're the squeaky wheel and you're also an all-star in this league.
Yeah,
a stud. Yeah. So we know how that works. The ball goes to the star player to keep the star player quiet. And again, it's not with malicious intent. It's because he's a competitive guy and wants the ball. But the trickle-down effect is that you end up with a number of other people that end up unhappy because you're unhappy that you're not getting fed enough.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great point. You don't have to be a malcontent to have a negative impact on an offense. Right. I mean, look at the 49ers, guys. Why is the offense so dynamic for the 49ers?
Everybody is eligible.
Everybody's eligible.
Pass, man.
You better declare yourself.
Yeah. you should.
Yeah, if you're
make sure you do that.
Yeah, but I mean, Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot. You've got Deebo Samuel. He can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot.
Yep.
Nobody's complaining. Brandon Ayuk is one of the more underrated wide receivers in the league.
Yes,
he's outstanding. You don't hear him complaining constantly. He could be a number one. He could have bigger numbers than he has right now. But he knows his role in the offense. Christian McCaffrey with so many with the defenses looking at McCaffrey or looking at Deebo Samuel. Ayuk's going to get one-on-one coverage on the outside. You know, He knows he can make big plays. George Kittle he's an actual tight end.
Yes.
Travis Swifty in Kansas City, he's a receiver.
He's a big receiver.
He's a receiver. What was the last time Swifty blocked?
When's the last time they set up a run with Swifty blocking?
You think he's a tight end?
Hey.
No.
The position has changed, let's say. And so, yes, he is a tight end.
George Kittle's a tight end.
He is.
Rob
he enjoys
Gronkowski
blocking.
was a tight end.
That's a tight end.
He's a tight end as well. So is Travis Kelce. He's a tight end. He lines up next to the tackle. That makes him a tight end.
We'll say
he has an eligible number.
We'll say ish.
He's an eligible number.
We'll say ish.
He's a tight end ish. Yeah. But George Kittle, you don't hear him complain. I mean, it's at the detriment of the offense if you're always constantly barking. That one of the reasons why the Eagles can be dynamic is because you've got A.J. Brown, you've got Devonta Smith, you've got Dallas Goedert, you've got Jalen Hurts and a six-back offense. Your defense, you got to worry about him constantly. So if A.J. Brown, I know they're frustrated and all that, if they could just get on the same page here, this is still one of the best teams in the league.
I agree. And if they can figure that out, and like I said, I think as a receiver, you want to have that number one guy that demands the football because he is going up against a corner that he either feels like is too small, he's either too slow, he's not good enough to defend me. Why aren't you giving me the ball? And I told you all, a receiver of the caliber of A.J. Brown can get 5 passes in a row, and the 6th pass goes somewhere else. He's looking like, what the hell are we doing here?
What are we doing?
What are we doing? I want a heater. Throw me the damn ball.
We just scored.
That's the mindset. So it can be a little bit frustrating for them, but I hope all things get figured out because they're still a really good team and a really dangerous team.
Carey.
11-5. And
imagine.
Exactly. So
we get a text to the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. This is a funny one. From the 314 says, Keyshawn Johnson wrote a book called Throw Me the Damn Ball.
Yep, there you go. Yeah. Called Wayne Charbet the mascot. Guy had a monstrous season. He's calling him a mascot. I mean, that's how it goes with
damn ball.
Yeah, that's how it goes for number one wide receivers. It certainly
one of
is.
them is my teammate, but it's funny.
Yeah. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. Can Robert Thomas be a Selke winner? We'll get into that conversation next on 101 ESPN.
To the near wing. Colorado on the puck. Turns it over. Thomas. Short-handed breakaway. He's in the clear. He shoots. He scores! A short-handed goal. Robert Thomas ties the game 1-1.
Chris Gerber on the call the other night. Robert Thomas with that goal. You heard it right here on 101 ESPN, the home of the Blues and Blues Radio Network. You'll hear the Blues tomorrow night against the Canucks. Pregame starting at 6 o'clock with Jamie Rivers and Carey Davis. I'm Anthony Stalter. Robert Thomas. Some people may kind of scoff at this, Jamie, but I know you got some numbers that could change some people's minds. Robert Thomas, potential Selke winner. What do you think?
Gary, what do you think?
I think he's doing a great job. I think he is.
Not the question, Carey.
So I think because of what he has had to do defensively, we talked about stepping up for those that are around him, Jordan Kyrou being one of those players. I think that you've seen more of his capability. So if he continues in that route, does the shorthanded goals count into that? Because he has a few of those, correct?
He's got one so far this year.
Buchnevich has
Bucci's got two, and so does Toropchenko.
Okay, yeah. So I think if he continues on that path, who else would be in that conversation?
Well, look, the obvious guys that you think about throughout the league are, guys like Sasha Barkov. That guy's been with Florida. He's been a great two-way forward. But it's wide open now because Patrice Bergeron retired. Mm-hmm. And Patrice Bergeron, they should just call it the Bergeron Trophy. I think he won it 6 times. But now
it's
with
the Frank J. Selke Award, though. It already has a name.
That's the Patrice Bergeron Award. Trust me. But Bergeron put up big numbers as well as being arguably one of the best defensive forwards in the NHL year after year after year. Now, there was a year that he didn't win it. There was a year that Ryan O'Reilly won it. And that year was in 2019. And we love Ryan O'Reilly here in St. Louis, and he is still one of the better defensive forwards in the NHL, and at that time one of the best. And sorry, I'm trying to focus. Marshy's got that computer in a headlock over there.
It fell down.
I wish everybody could see what Marsh is. He looks like he's driving. He's trying to drive the monitor.
I thought he was trying to land a plane.
He's trying to drive his computer monitor right out on Olive here.
Yeah.
You okay, buddy?
Andrew, you good?
I think I got it. Yeah. It like fell down like Anthony's microphone, except for yours just pops up.
No,
the
mine
computer.
Always hey, mine always goes up.
Yeah, it goes up. Mine unfortunately just went down.
You know what I mean, Carey?
But I think I fixed it.
No issues there.
It was going down, which is never a good thing, but it is.
It's back up.
It's
stable.
It's stable. It's ready to go.
Okay. All right, great.
Sorry, Jamie.
Ready for game time.
So Ryan O'Reilly won the Selke Trophy in 2019. Here were some of the numbers. I don't have all the numbers, but some of the important numbers. He had 77 points overall. When you ask yourself, why does that matter when you have a defensive trophy? It just does.
Okay.
It just does.
It's like what Gold Glove used to be.
Well, and
an offensive
that's
award.
right. And what the Norris Trophy used to be best defenseman, now it's the highest points. Like Erik Karlsson was one of the worst defensemen last year, but he had over 100 points, so let's make him the best defenseman. Makes no sense at all. But when we look at the points in 2019 for Ryan O'Reilly, 77 points. Projected pace right now for Robert Thomas, 88 points. So a little bit of a difference there. Plus minus, which to me is a skewed stat, but nonetheless, it still gets looked at. That year was plus 22 for Ryan O'Reilly. Projected plus 27 for Robert Thomas this year.
Do you care much about plus minus?
Not really.
Okay, just wondering.
No, it's just part of this, part of the exercise right now.
Thank you.
For me, it still does depict a little bit of the story.
Yeah.
It's not everything, and I don't read completely into it. Like I said, when I mentioned it's a skewed stat, it's like, we'll see. Okay. But either way, on pace right now for the same thing as Ryan O'Reilly. Now, shorthanded time on ice. Ryan O'Reilly spent 163 minutes of killing penalties. Projected right now, Robert Thomas at 145 minutes. So a little off the pace there, but still in the same category. Takeaways, Ryan O'Reilly, this is something he was incredible at. And stealing the puck from the opposition. Ryan O'Reilly that year had 94 takeaways. And right now for Robert Thomas, projected 68. Now, again, all this is projected. So it could go a lot worse or it could go a lot better, depending on, what happens with Robert Thomas. And then block shots was 36 for Ryan O'Reilly and projected 43 for Robert Thomas. So the numbers aren't identical, but it kind of makes you sit there and think for a second, like, is Robert Thomas more of a 200-foot player than we ever thought he was going to be? I think the answer is yes. I think that everybody saw Robert Thomas as a very dynamic, power play, offensive, high-risk, high-reward type player. Yet here he is evolving into this all-around player, and he's getting a lot of responsibility.
Does it matter? Does it help having Pavel Buchnevich on the line with you?
Yeah.
Does that add or factor into it? But then you also have Jordan Kyrou, who maybe wasn't as good of a 200-foot player. Is it kind of
what you mean, Carey?
kind of what they're saying? He's really fast, just not going one way, going the other way.
So you go back and you look at Selke Trophy winners. Usually have a pretty steady guy in their line. So Patrice Bergeron had Brad Marchand.
Okay.
And you can say whatever you want. Brad Marchand's a highly competitive individual, plays hard defensively, blocks shots, hits guys. He can put the puck in the net, and he's a massive agitator, and that's why Blues fans don't particularly like him. But you take him on your team, I can tell you that, every day, including twice on Sundays, you take him. So when you look at Ryan O'Reilly in 2019, he had David Perron on his line. David Perron's a pretty damn good defensive player, and that sounds crazy because David Perron used to be in the same breath as like a Jordan Kyrou.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Don't really know what's going to happen here. He's really good offensively, but you just don't know defensively. Yeah. Well, David Perron, throughout the course of his career, really took pride in becoming a more well-rounded player. And by the time he left here the last time, I mean, he was great defensively, solid, strong, competitive on the puck. Him and Ryan O'Reilly would play against the other team's top lines night after night after night. So you always have the shake and bake. And for this one here, I think Thomas and Buchnevich are the shake and bake defensively, or the 200-foot players. And Kyrou has a little more leash to kind of run around out there.
Okay. You said something interesting about Robert Thomas and where he was at the start of his career and what people thought he was going to be. When we had the same conversation or a similar conversation about Colton Parayko and what people thought he was going to be with Colton, at one point in his career. And then people can't move past it. We've seen this in other sports, too. And I wonder if we hamper what the player is, or I'm sorry, we minimize what the player is because he's not what we thought he was going to be. For example, like Brock Purdy with the 49ers. Everybody's, he's got Deebo Samuel, he's got Christian McCaffrey, he's got whatever. We don't hear the same thing with Tua. Why? Because Tua was sixth overall pick and Brock Purdy was Mr. Irrelevant. I think if the two flipped, now nobody's got an issue with it because he's living up to the expectations of being a top 10 quarterback. So I do wonder with Robert Thomas, if some of this is just in the minds, people may listen to what you just said, even with all the numbers and say, nah, because they had expectations of him being a dynamic, explosive player as opposed to what he is, which is a potentially great two-way player.
Well, what's funny is in 2018, 2019, when Ryan O'Reilly, won that award.
You get choked up when you talk about it.
I get emotional. Robert Thomas was playing on the third line with Pat Maroon and Tyler Bozak as a right winger. So not that the Blues thought so little of him defensively, but again, it goes back to that Perunovich conversation that we had earlier.
Working your way in.
You've got to work your way in, learn how to play the game, and the team gave you just the right amount of responsibility to continue to evolve your game. So the following year, what happened? Of course, the Stanley Cup ring, that carries a lot of weight for a young player moving into the next season as far as confidence and things like that. Robert Thomas was moved to the middle of the ice. And this is where Craig Berube deserves credit, man. Craig Berube takes a lot of abuse. People think, he doesn't develop young players or he's too hard on the young guys. One, that's so false. I could give you a list of 7 players that he's developed single-handedly here within the Blues organization. But in particular, with Robert Thomas, he moved him to the middle of the ice. And on top of that, he started to tinker with penalty killing. And why did he say that? Because his hockey IQ. He said Robert Thomas thinks the game at another level, which creates an opportunity for him to anticipate plays that are going to happen and shut them down. Now, it was a rough ride. It was bumpy. He didn't stay on the penalty kill. He got spot duty here, spot duty there. But then we fast forward to where Robert Thomas was last year. and he's on the ice at the last minute of the game. Whether you're trying to score a goal or you're trying to keep a lead, Robert Thomas is out there taking faceoffs, playing defensively. He's out there killing penalties. And what has that translated to? This season. And this season, he is by far your best offensive player. He's one of your better faceoff guys. Kevin Hayes is the best faceoff guy, but still, Robert Thomas is a guy that you're putting out there at the end of the game. Mm-hmm. And his anticipation defensively has been incredible. He anticipates where the puck's going. Him and Pavel Buchnevich, as penalty killers out there together, they're so aggressive, but they're aggressive because they know what the next play is, and they're so talented that they get in the way and they create chaos, and then as soon as they create that chaos, they're gone offensively. And Buchnevich has 2 goals shorthanded, Robert Thomas 1 goal shorthanded. So I just think that maybe not this year. Maybe not. But he's trending in the right direction to where Robert Thomas could potentially be an even better 200-foot player than Ryan O'Reilly was, which is crazy to say.
Jamie, how many years do you think it takes? I think in NFL, unless you're one of the elite players and can come in and have an impact, your first year, Justin Jefferson comes to mind, like a player that is right off the bat, just can go get it. It normally takes an NFL player 2 to 3 years to kind of figure out, I don't even know how to get around the city where I'm at and live my life as a professional athlete. How long does it take for a hockey player to really get into, I am who I need to be for this team and I can be successful in this role?
It takes a while, like depending on the position. So if you're a winger, and no disrespect to a winger, your responsibilities are a little less. Straight up and down the ice, and you do your best to play defensively and whatnot. But still a jump. So I'm thinking 2 years probably for one of those guys. For a centerman, like 3 or 4. For a defenseman, like 4 or 5.
Okay. So
and a goaltender could be 5 years plus. I'm not joking. You look at a lot of these goalies, and you only hear about the ones that make that quick jump right away. Oh, that guy's a star. But then 3-4 years later, you're hearing about another guy who's all of a sudden, this guy's a stud goalie, but he's been in the minors for 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he's been learning his craft. And so defensemen are a lot the same way, too. I mean, look at some of the guys that are just evolving this year. Even look at Matthew Kessel. He's been a pro hockey player for a couple of years now. He's never really had a sniff, and now all of a sudden, he's kind of ready for the NHL. So that's why, for me, patience is key, and putting your players in the right situations and incrementally increasing their role within the group is the key to their confidence growing properly.
Is Mizzou poised to have their best season in program history? I'm sure Carey's got a lot of thoughts on this. Next on 101 ESPN.
Rutherford, Anthony Stalter, Andrew Marsh, and myself, Carey Davis, and we are talking about the Missouri Tigers, and are they
Carey, you put this on the dock today.
Yeah, I was
really
so
wanted to talk about
excited
Mizzou.
I mean, listen, I was thrilled to talk about the Mizzou Tigers. Go Tigers.
In fact, you sent me a text. It was like M-I-Z.
That's LSU.
Oh, is that not the same Tigers?
No.
Go Tigers.
Yeah, there's different Tigers.
You can say
it's
it.
only one Illini, so it's hard to keep up.
What is an Illini?
You don't worry about that, Jamie. We're a block I now.
Oh, you got the Indian guy, right?
Yeah, Chief Illini. He's no longer.
That's right. Yeah,
he's no longer a part of.
I strongly disagree with that, and I'm an Indian, so I'm a First Nations from Canada, and I think it's fine.
Yeah, we no longer have Chief Illini.
We're a flying C.
Steadfast.
Central Michigan.
That's right.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm also part of that conversation.
That's right.
We're the Fighting Hawks now.
Yeah, they used to be the Fighting Sioux, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See?
All of these things.
Man.
A lot of these people, what I found out over the years, including my own family, which is, so is Carey, my dad was a full-blooded native.
Okay.
And my mom is got Irish in her, and, her dad was from Belfast, Ireland. And anyways, so I'm Indian descent, and we had relatives that lived on the reservation and all this stuff. And like whenever that conversation comes up for me, people are like, well, it's kind of an honor to be recognized in certain way. Now, I understand there's some derogatory behind some of it.
Yes.
Not all of it, though. Some of the teams are actually honoring the heritage.
Yes.
Yep.
That's where I think it goes sideways. Anyways, that just got way off course.
Yeah, so, Missouri, what are we poised
Carey?
for? No, thank you.
Yeah, ZOU, just like you said.
So, Carey, one of the things that you wanted to talk about today was whether or not Mizzou is poised to have their best football, their best season in program history.
Well, here's my thing. They are coming off one of the better seasons that, as I said the other day, that I can recall in program history. This is a program, and let me say this, because I hear a lot of people, they always talk about Illinois. I don't talk about Illinois. You know why? Because we stunk. I am a realist. I don't talk about teams that aren't good. We were really good a couple of years ago in 2022, had an opportunity to win some big games, and then we lost to Michigan State. They had half their team, and then we lost to Purdue, and then we lost at Michigan. It was a terrible ending to a really good start of a season. I get it. That's what it was. But Mizzou was able to get over that hump. They were able to win the Tennessee game. They were able to win the Florida game, and that put them in a position to play in a bowl game versus Ohio State, which they also won. Now, this isn't the same Ohio State as it was a few years for a few months ago, but it was still Ohio State nonetheless. So, are they poised to be in a position to have success? Yes. This is the best opportunity that I can recall for Mizzou to have sustained success over a number of years, because when you win in the manner in which they did this year, when you play close games against the LSUs and the Georgias of the world, you want to win those games, but you kept it close enough to where you had an opportunity. You put yourself in a position to recruit the kids that keep your team going in the right direction. And it doesn't matter, what level of football you are, whether it's NAIA, D2, FCS, FBS. The recruits are the lifeblood of your program. If you are unable to get really talented players or develop players into being really good players, you're not going to have success. I've been a high school coach for a long time, and I would tell college coaches, head coaches this. You want to know how long you're going to have a job? Talk to the high school coaches, because your recruiting coordinators, your guys that are on the road talking to these coaches, probably going to get you fired if you don't have good ones. Mizzou has a really good coaching staff that does a really good job in recruiting. It's shown this offseason, and now develop those kids to be really good players and go win the Georgia game. Go win the Alabama game. Go win the LSU game. The notion that, losing 2 games next year, it shouldn't be enough. You should want to win all of them because you're putting yourself in a position to have that success and continue that success.
They had to get over to your point, Carey, they had to get over certain hurdles as a program. I thought one was first and foremost, getting over that Kansas State hump, because you got crushed last year by that same program. And Kansas State was ranked, I think, 15th at the time that Mizzou played them. So they passed that test. Then it was don't have the Mizzou game. And there were several opportunities to have the Mizzou game.
What do you mean by that, Anthony?
You know what that means.
You lose to LSU.
You know what that means.
That was almost the Mizzou game. The LSU game, I was like,
they should have won.
They should have won.
The Middle Tennessee State game was almost a Mizzou game.
I'll give you another example, though. You were having a good season. You lost to LSU. You should have won the game. You had every opportunity to win it. Then you go on the road to Lexington. and you trail 14-0.
That was
one.
You get
And then the
blown
fake
out by
punt, right?
Kentucky.
They got the fake punt that
Yes.
put them right on the right side of things. Was that correct?
And then they had, I just remember the multiple turnovers in the second half.
Yeah.
With that really allowed Mizzou to pull away.
Yeah.
But you lose that game, then you got back-to-back. Now who knows where your season goes? But you didn't. You came back. You won it. You nearly lost to Florida. I would have described that as a Mizzou moment.
Yeah.
Florida was not
great.
Not that we're not talking about Urban Meyer's Florida Gators here, but you won that one. You came back. You had Brady Cook had that incredible drive. You win that one. You had to pass certain mile markers. Forget beating Georgia in Athens. You don't want a one-off. I remember when the Mizzou program, all we talked about was the signature win. Screw the signature win. Have the signature season. You have to get to that point at some point. And I feel like we're on the cusp of that with Mizzou. It was Ohio State. I realize, Carey, I think you bring up good points about who didn't play for Ohio State. At least Marvin Harrison. I'm not going to give you credit for Kyle McCord.
I've seen enough. Quarterback in the Big Ten matters.
Ish.
Okay.
He was a starting quarterback-ish.
How many games did he lose last year?
How many games did Ohio State lose?
How many games did he lose as the starting quarterback?
Ohio State lost one game.
He was the starting quarterback, Jamie. It matters.
How do you do against Michigan?
That's the one game he like. Man, Michigan's going to be the national damn champions. What are we doing here?
How do you do against Notre Dame?
They're going to be the national champions.
Okay.
Michigan.
Anyways,
they won.
Then recruiting, like you said, they recruited well. They've had a big offseason. I do think Mizzou is on the cusp of having an absolutely program-defining season.
So Mizzou's kind of become a recruiting juggernaut. Am I wrong in saying that? Because every other year I've heard about other programs going out there and just killing it. Great recruiting class after great recruiting class. And sometimes the team, you don't have to do much to recruit some of the players because the program's playing so well. It's doing wonders for these kids and NFL picks and also. But I feel like in the last couple of years, and not just because we're local, watching anything nationally as well, they have really talked up how good the recruiting has been by Missouri. Am I crazy?
This season has been, they've done a really good job.
Last year, not a bad year.
Think about
where the program was, Carey.
but much better. Yes, much better this year. And you still, you want to get the top players in your state. I think that's important. They missed out on Wingo, which he's the kid going to Texas. Yeah, but they did a really good job of Williams Nwarni, who was on the Kansas City side coming to Mizzou. They did a good job of recruiting the kids and actually being able to. Drink said it at one point. We're no longer recruiting, air quotes. We're able to go and select the kids that we actually want. Recruiting really signifies we have to go out on the road and pour and hey, come to our school, this. But when you are actually able to select, you say, yeah, I want that kid. And that kid's like, yeah, I want you too. Mm-hmm. And so they're at that position now. Now sustain that success. Yeah. Continue to do it in 24 and then in 25. That's the one reward you get for having a good season. You get to try to do it again. Mm-hmm. And if you don't do it again, then it doesn't matter what happened in the past. Winning against Ohio State, whether or not their starting quarterback was there or not, if you don't go on and have the success for 24,
we're going to call it asterisk.
I just said it doesn't matter
Carey
if
asterisk.
they did it or not. It doesn't matter if you're not able to sustain it. So there you go. And in all, for Missouri and for Missouri fans, hopefully they're able to. Mm-hmm. Because that is a great feeling when your program is in those conversations of, now we're in the playoffs. Okay, we win the SEC championship. Now we're in the playoffs. Oh, now we're in conversations for actually potentially being national champions. Those are the conversations you want to have, and they're trending in the right direction.
They killed in the transfer
portal. If they were
too.
stock, I would be buying. How about that?
Okay.
Wow.
That's
Kerry Davis buying Missouri stock.
325.
That almost classifies him as a fan.
Kerry becomes a Mizzou fan.
I like money.
Yeah, I know you do.
Stock.
Spending enough of it at Mizzou right now.
Exactly. Should get something on my return.
There you go.
On my return.
That's Kerry Davis. That's Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. We're going to play Prove Me Wrong. So if you have a Prove Me Wrong statement,
come on, Carey.
A Prove Me Wrong statement, you can send it into the Air Comfort Service tax line at 314-399-9646. Again, Prove Me Wrong next.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Blues are back in action tomorrow night, taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Pregame starts at 6 o'clock. Puck drop is at 7. And you can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We'll talk with our Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford, at 4:30. So stay tuned for that. Once again, Blues Canucks tomorrow night right here on 101 ESPN. We have Prove Me Wrong coming up next. So if you have a Prove Me Wrong statement you want to send to us, do so at the Air Comfort Service text line 314-399-9646. Prove Me Wrong coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Prove me wrong, kids. Prove me wrong.
Wait,
It's Jamie's
where's
favorite.
that from? I know that voice.
I mean, it sounds like something from like South Park or something.
You're close. You're close. You're in the same type of... Yes.
Okay.
It's from The Simpsons.
But that voice is a famous actor. He's in the movie. I'll place it eventually. Anthony, the hamster jumps in the wheel. Might take a couple days.
It's Josh Ennis's dad.
No, it's not. Yeah.
At this point, I'd be willing to believe it.
No, honestly, it sounds like Phil Hartman. I think it's Phil Hartman.
It's a good guess.
Because he used to do the voice for...
Wasn't he the principal? Not the principal. Who was he?
No, the Todd McClure or whatever his name was. It's like a local celebrity guy. Anyways, time to play Prove Me Wrong.
Yeah, that went right over my head.
Good talk, Anthony.
Never
All right,
heard of
Jamie,
him.
no, you know what you bring up? Who was that from? You asked me a question, I try to help out, and now you crap on me. That's cool.
Good
That's
talk.
good.
How's your problem?
Good talk.
Did I say something
Did it in a
negative?
You guys
passive-aggressive
done
way.
bickering?
Passive. Your Honor, wasn't that in a
That was
passive-aggressive
not
manner?
passive-aggressive. I don't have a lot of passive-aggressive in me.
Typically,
That I can tell you.
typically, I agree with you, Jamie. But that had passive-aggressive written all over it. All right?
Carey, your co-counsel's here.
They're already bickering. I don't know how we're going to get through.
You're going to have to save this court right now.
Are you good?
I'm ready to roll, I think.
Word on the street is you were not ready to roll last week.
No, he was fine. He did a great job. He got a little. He let emotion get in the way of winning.
Yeah.
Okay. And his
winning
own
is what we
personal.
want. Yeah.
Winning is what we're the
What we're here
defense.
for.
That's all we got to do.
All we care about is winning.
Once we went over that, Carey is all about winning.
Yes.
So I expected a different Carey.
All right,
Indeed.
here we go. Marsh,
You guys are ready to go.
the Honorable Marshy Marsh.
You don't have to butter him up.
He is.
I know.
He's deciding our fate, too.
From the 314, the transfer portal and these kids sitting out during bowl games are killing the bowl games. Prove me wrong.
I would like Jamie Rivers to represent.
I'll defer that since I'm the wrong guy for this council.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead,
You want me
sir.
to?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Your Honor, can you repeat the statement, please?
The
I think I
transfer
missed it.
portal and these
You know
kids
what?
sitting out during bowl games are killing the bowl games.
I actually can take this one.
All right, you're on.
So here's
Carey
why
Davis.
this is incorrect. What the transfer portal provides is young men opportunities. It provides opportunities for young men to go other places where they may be more respected and appreciated, and most importantly, for those bowl games, it allows these young men who have not had the opportunity to prove themselves worthy of a position on a college football field, the opportunity to play in that game. Because had the transfer portal not taken place, these young men would be sitting on benches for years. Their families would be distraught. They would be heartbroken because they never got to witness their child play on TV in a bowl game, in a meaningful game. So what the transfer portal allows for these young men that are normally sitting on benches, it allows them an opportunity for all of us Americans to watch them do the best that they can do when they can do it. Their families, us, America is better for it. The transfer portal is here to stay, and we are thankful for it.
I thought this was America.
I thought it was.
Well said.
It is.
Opportunities.
Coming from a Canadian, America.
Yeah.
I can't get behind it.
Are you serious?
I can't get behind it.
Judge, are you serious on this?
First of all, you guys had no idea what direction you were going in.
Hold on. We talked about it. We conferred.
Hey, every now and then you pick the best lawyer from your group to represent.
And we did.
We absolutely did.
That was
While that is
Carey,
true,
you got jobbed.
I think so.
While that is true, the date that the transfer portal is open coincides with bowl games, and that is why you are seeing a lot of these bowl games not meaning anything to certain people.
It means a lot.
It means everything. To somebody. Just because it doesn't mean anything to you,
That bowl
Judge?
game is some kid's Super Bowl.
We have Kyle McCord, who only lost one game to the eventual national champions, according to Carey Davis, and he transferred out.
He couldn't have. Never mind.
He wanted to give the guys behind him an opportunity.
It's fine. Carey, you got jobbed.
No, he didn't.
Got jobbed. He wanted to give old number 33 an opportunity.
Yep.
That guy who played 8 snaps before he got hurt.
Yeah, he was jogging on the sidelines and stuff.
Okay.
I appreciate the effort.
Wow.
Wow.
No, you don't. You're right,
It really came down to you guys not having a direction right from the get-go.
No, we did. We just wanted to pick the right counsel.
Exactly, and we did.
I would have been the
I take
wrong
everything into
I know you.
consideration here.
The stance I've had on this. Anthony, I'm like, I'm shaking off the pitch. I'm like, no, not me.
I went the other way.
I look at body language. I take everything into consideration.
Can't even confer.
The judge looking at body language. Interesting.
Here we go. From the 661, prove me wrong. Week 18 of the NFL season is completely pointless.
Completely pointless. What are we talking about here? Completely pointless. How many games actually matter in terms of the playoffs?
I mean,
in seeding,
all of them.
Are you kidding me right now with this garbage that you just put in front of me? This is a waste of our time. This is an outstanding week.
I agree.
You've got playoff matchups, teams on both sides looking to either get in, hell, win a division.
There you go.
Seeding could be the top seed, could be the second seed, hell, it could be third or fourth seed. That's what Week 18 is all about. It doesn't matter. You tell me football, you don't want to watch football? Is that what this guy's telling me? Don't want to watch football.
You tell that to the NFC South, that it doesn't matter.
And it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
3 of the 4 teams in the NFC South battling for a division.
Fighting. Green Bay, it matters in Green Bay, right?
It matters in Green Bay. It matters in Minnesota.
Yep.
Hell, it matters in Atlanta.
There you go.
And New Orleans.
Yep.
And Tampa.
There's a lot of cities that matter.
Yeah. Damn near all of them.
Yeah. Sounds like it. Buffalo, it matters to them.
Buffalo, Miami.
These are good cities.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Automatic. All right, from the 314, prove me wrong. The Blues won't get out of the first round of the playoffs for the next 5 years.
5 years? Are you out of your freaking mind? I think the team right now has a chance to win the first round. Do you not remember them playing a couple years ago against the Stanley Cup champions? Nobody gave them a chance, and you know what? But Jordan Binnington was there, and then Nazem Kadri ran him over, and that's the only chance the Avalanche had at that point. But fast forward to where we are right now. We're talking about Colton Parayko having his best season as a Blue, and that's only going to get better. The next couple of years, Colton Parayko is even going to be more refined. He's going to be even more polished. He's going to have more confidence, and it's going to be healthy, playing the way he is. Robert Thomas, we talk about Selke Trophy. We talk about Pavel Buchnevich in the same breath. How about Jordan Kyrou? What if he continues this trajectory offensively? He becomes a 90 to 100-point player. Robert Thomas does. You've got maybe 3 guys on your roster that are 90 to 100-point players with the supporting cast of a Jake Neighbors. That's right. Jake Neighbors has 12 goals right now.
Tell him.
And we haven't even talked about Dalibor Dvorsky, who people right now at the World Juniors are absolutely thrilled about. They said, and I quote, "This is a guy you build your team around." And he hasn't even had a chance yet to come to an NHL camp because he was on a pro team last year in Sweden, so he wasn't allowed to come to real training camp for the Blues. He might win a spot outright next year. And how about Jimmy Snuggerud? All he does is light the red lamp up there. Goalies have sunburn on the back of their neck playing against Jimmy Snuggerud because he scores so many damn goals.
Better get some sunscreen.
So you're telling me that what they have currently as a young foundation, adding more young pieces that have dynamic ability alongside the fact that you got Jordan Binnington Brooklyn Nets and Joel Hofer for the foreseeable future, go chase yourself. They're definitely getting in the playoffs.
Anytime you have Jordan Bennington between the pipes, you have a chance to win a playoff round. And those goalies in college hockey, they're more sunburnt than Jamie when he's between the benches out on home ice.
Yeah. Nice job, Jamie.
All right, Carey.
Well done.
I think we have one that you might be able to get some revenge here, or just get back at me from the 314. Prove me wrong. The bowl games were already dead when they brought in the college football playoff.
Well,
you tell me it didn't matter for Mizzou?
No!
Mizzou's faithful? You saying the bowl game doesn't matter? Huh? For Mizzou? My co-counsel went to a Maryland game. Maryland game in Nashville. Had a hell of a time.
I did.
He posted on social media.
Yeah, I did.
Loved it. Loved he was waving that terrapin towel all over the place.
I was. Screaming.
He was saying, let's go,
First
Turtles.
down.
First down, second down. He was screaming it all. You tell me it didn't matter to my co-counsel?
It definitely mattered.
Huh? You tell me it didn't matter to South Alabama Jaguars, who absolutely waxed the Eastern Michigan Eagles?
Yeah, Oregon beating up on Liberty. I get kids at Oregon.
I guess it didn't matter to Bo Nix, who decided to play in the game.
Seventh season of college football. It mattered, man.
Yeah.
It didn't matter. It certainly mattered to the Liberty Flames on that first drive. Afterwards, maybe not so much. But it certainly mattered for a drive.
They were ready to roll.
Mattered in Vegas.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Didn't matter. Bowl games don't matter. Come on.
I mean, if Carey's posting pictures on Instagram,
he went.
I mean, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, let's do another one from the 618.
I thought he's going to pass out.
I had a whole I'm Northern Illinois.
I couldn't believe how deep you were going on that.
I was prepared. I was prepared. Yeah.
All right, from the 618, prove me wrong. The NFL needs to stop rushing number one draft picks to start their rookie season. Look at Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Hell, even Patrick Mahomes didn't start his first year.
I mean, what are we doing? Why do you draft a guy? You draft him you draft him to play him right away because you brought him in to change the trajectory of your franchise. That's his job. That's his role. To whom much is given, much is required. We all understand that. And if you are a first round, first day, first pick, whatever the case may be, your job is to save that franchise because clearly the year before they stunk, right? They were a terrible team in order to even have that high of a draft pick. So what is your role? It's not to sit on the bench and watch. It's not to sit there and gain information. It is to help this organization become a champion because that's why you were brought here. You think Peyton Manning was going to sit on the bench?
No.
He was there. And what did Peyton? What did Peyton go down as? Probably the greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
Wow.
One of.
Second.
Oh, okay. Greatest quarterback to ever play the game.
You said one of.
One of. He's the greatest in this case. So, here we are. That's the purpose. That's why you allowed them to play.
Let them go. He's
and
rolling.
that's why you let them do what they need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carey, you make a great point. Peyton Manning, he's up there. I look at a more recent person as well, C.J. Stroud.
There you go.
Excellent quarterback, first year.
Zach Wilson.
Help me! What are you doing? You already almost ruined it with the second guy because of Tom Brady. He's late in the draft. I was trying to get you to shh.
I know, but I can't do that to my guy Tom.
Oh my God!
I can't. We have a special bond, man.
What the hell? You killed me here.
I think Zach Wilson trying to win his first game.
I was trying to get you to. I said the best, and don't worry about the other guy.
I have a certain dedication to Tom
Zach
Brady.
Wilson? Come on.
Now that may have been the straw that broke the camel's
egregious.
That will conclude our cases today and prove me wrong.
That's Anthony's guy.
Oh, my God.
You could have won with my actual guy, would be Matt Ryan.
You had a Zach Wilson jersey before he was drafted.
Not.
You know you did.
I
Stop
like
it.
Zach. I did. I liked him. And I was wrong.
That didn't help the conversation.
You have to bring it up to ruin his case.
I didn't. I was just talking about first-round picks.
Carey got the buzzer early today. He was in a prime position, and you just went and ruined it.
I didn't. You should be listening to me. I'm just in the courtroom.
You're like the buddy. You're like the guy, forgot his name, who played on the Dallas Stars, who had a wide open empty net and then fell, and then the Edmonton Oilers went down and scored and tied the game. Yes, that's you right now.
I'm going to score.
No, you're not.
I should have just been held in contempt, not affect his decisions.
Jeez. Well, if that wasn't frustrating enough, we'll talk about frustration among coaches when the losing starts to pile up. That's next on 101
Talking
ESPN.
Cardinals.
Hey, honey, how was your trip to Menards?
Awesome. The Menards bag sale is back.
What's the bag sale?
You grab a bag in store and save 15% on everything you can fit in the bag. I got a new cordless drill, LED bulbs to help with the electric bill, stocked up on toothpaste, always need batteries, and paint for the mudroom, plus all my favorite snacks. Where are you going?
Menards, we're out of cleaning supplies.
Hurry in. Grab a bag in store now through January 14th. Get 15% off everything you can fit in the bag. See store for complete details.
Cheap, fun. Holiday season is gone, but that doesn't mean you have to stop celebrating. You can celebrate a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, any day of the week with Dirt Cheap. They are your one-stop shop for all things that you need for your home, for your parties, or when it comes to beer. They have an incredible selection available over at Dirt Cheap. Wines, whether it's a white wine, a red wine, you're trying to pair up a certain wine, walk in, ask the representative, hey, what would you pair up with this meal, or what would you recommend? They've got you covered. And when it comes to spirits, they are the best in the business. Being a bourbon guy like myself, I just can't get enough of what Dirt Cheap has to offer. They've got Elijah Craig, they've got Angel's Envy, they've got Blanton's, they've got all the good stuff. So that's why I tell people all the time, don't worry about the name Dirt Cheap. That's the prices. That's the positive. For you, the customer, you're getting all the best of it because the prices are low and the product is high end. They've got great stuff there. And you pair that up with the Dirt Cheap app. Download that app and you get savings and you get specials and you get notifications of certain raffles that are coming up, VIP clubs. You can even order online. If you're crazy busy and you got to just pull up and make sure you get what you got to get and get back, you got you there right there with the Dirt Cheap app. And some of the locations even have drive-thrus. So please don't look anywhere else. Head into Dirt Cheap. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you. And remember, have fun, but be careful out there.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
St. Louis, thank you for choosing Under Law as STL Today's 2023 best law firm. Although our work has always been about you, we are proud yet humbled to be acknowledged by the community we serve and love. At Under Law, we will continue our mission to make a difference, one case at a time.
When you're injured, you need the best. Call Under Law at 314 or 618-9000000.
It's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Carey, I think you had sent something out to our group text about Mike Vrabel earlier today and how Mike Vrabel is absolutely going to play Week 18 like it matters, despite the fact that his Titans they're not playing for anything but pride at this point. But you had mentioned, look, when it comes to a head coach like Vrabel, who's proud, 5-11 team, still fighting for something. Or Bill Belichick. I saw that this is the most losses Bill Belichick has ever had in his coaching career in a single season. It's at what point? I mean, you guys played for different organizations. You in the NFL, Jamie, you in the NHL. When you see a head coach have to wear the losses week in and week out, how much does that impact the way that he operates day to day?
Oh, I think it impacts everything. I think it impacts how he interacts with the team, how he interacts with his family. If winning, I think I heard Bill Belichick say this one time, that losing impacts your quality of life. Like when you are consistently losing games, it's hard to go about a regular day because, people are wondering, well, why aren't you working? You're outside getting groceries or getting the mail. Well, why aren't you studying film? I've been doing that for 23 hours, sir. I need to get some fresh air. Yeah, I'd like to eat, drink a glass of water. That'd be nice. And it just changes how people are. I mean, and it's a difficult situation. I've never been a part of a team where the coaching staff got fired. I have been a part of my coach at Illinois got fired a few years after I left, but that was because we had some really bad seasons. And so when you are a player and you're part of that, you see how much it wears on the coaching staff. And I brought it up because we talked about Craig Berube obviously losing his job earlier this year. A lot of people have called for Ali Marmal's job throughout the past season and wanting him to be removed from that position. It is a tough task to get grown men, young women, people to do something consistently over and over and over again, and they're charged with that job.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to coaching and pro sports in general, I always try to parallel that to the business world so that, our listeners can kind of have a reference point because not all of our listeners played athletics at a high level. Mm-hmm. Maybe high school, whatever, or intramural in college. Still, not pro, so it's sometimes hard to use a reference point and be like, okay, I get it. But it's just like Carey said, some of the companies that maybe you work for, you'll notice a high turnover in management. And that usually coincides with the bottom line not being where it needs to be. Or employees that are underperforming, so the employees go, right? You go, okay, employee. After a while, you go, no, something's wrong here. They're not getting the training. They're not getting the managerial advice. They're not getting, so the manager has to go now, or the general manager of the store or the company, whatever it is. So the same applies in pro sports, is you first maneuver some players. And when you realize that it's not the players and that maybe it's the coaches or the coach's message, then you have to move in a different direction. And it's not easy to do because most coaches that are shown the door, there's a big percentage of that team that still believe in that coach, that still like that coach. I've never seen any one singular head coach have everybody love him. It's just he's not doing his job if that's the case because there's some guys that need to hate the head coach. Yeah. They do. And, I was fortunate that I played for a lot of really good coaches in the NHL, and I was a part of a couple of seasons to where the coach was relieved of his duties in the middle of the season. Mike Keenan was one of them. We were a playoff team when Mike Keenan got fired. What happened? We played better. We got better as a team. Joel Quenneville came in and was able to maximize what that team truly was. In other situations, they were losing seasons or things weren't going the right way, and you're looking for a change of direction. But how frustrating is it for the coach? How frustrating do you think it would be if you know what you're doing? You've proven it. You've proven it. You've either won a division, a conference, or a championship, and you're sitting there going, I didn't forget how to coach. Mm-hmm. And now we're losing, and these guys aren't responding, and now I'm going to lose my job potentially when I've done nothing different except what I know how to do every single day. Yeah. That's the frustrating part.
That might be part of the issue, though, depending on what the situation is.
If you're unwilling to change, then shame on you.
Right.
There's always a constant evolution, but your core values as a coach, as a boss, as an owner, no matter what it is, that's your foundation.
Right.
And I think the frustration for coaches comes in when, as you said, I know this game. I know what you're supposed to be doing, but the people aren't doing it. I think, and that's why, I hear people always complain about, the coach, the coach does not play one down. They do not take one shift. They don't throw one pitch. They don't take one at bat. All they do is prepare the players for the opportunity that when you get presented with that opportunity, you have to make the most of it. And if you don't, then you either, need to get new players, and if you're unable to do that, you probably got to get a new coach. And that, to me, is one of the most frustrating things about coaching is when you can't get guys to do the job that you know they're capable of doing, it's a really tough task to hold on to that position.
Sure. And a lot of times, most of the times, you're not picking out the groceries.
Yeah. Correct. And in Vrabel's case,
right, Marshy?
He doesn't have, it might be a talent deficiency, right? You don't have guys that are even good enough to be able to have the success.
You have a talent recognition problem, too. Maybe that's the problem when you're drafting guys that aren't talented enough.
That's not on him, though, specifically. That would be on the people above him.
No,
you only have so much pull as a head coach.
Then how much pull does Bill Belichick have? Because
he's got it all.
Right? Yeah. So they've obviously got a talent recognition problem in New England. And that's my team.
Yeah.
One of them. Trouble. The original team. But, so.
The crazy thing is they're not that far off. I mean, when you watch them play the
Patriots?
Bills, yeah. Okay, so hear me out, because I know what I just said. Probably a lot of people are like, this was stupid.
You get him, Anthony.
I get
Patriots
it. Right?
are good.
I get it. No. I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're good.
He just said
they're 4-12.
4-12. All right.
Hear me out.
Right.
They lost 25-20 against the Eagles. They were driving in that game. The final drive. Who was the kid that stepped out of bounds on that fourth down play? They were deep in Philadelphia territory. So they lose 25-20. They lost 24-17 against the Dolphins. They turned the ball over 482 times and still only lost 27-21 against the Bills. There are other games. I mean, the Chargers, they wound up scoring one touchdown that game. They win. They lost 10-7 to the Giants, 10-6 to the Colts. I'm not saying they're a good team. What I'm saying is they're not as far off as what you'd think a 4-12 team would be at this point. Like, they're not Carolina.
I was just about to say they're not Carolina.
Well,
They're not.
I mean, they had a 3-game stretch where they scored 13 points.
Right.
They aren't that good either.
I'm not saying they're good.
I think they're further away from being a good team than closer to what you're thinking.
Do you put them in the same category as Tennessee?
I would take Tennessee above New England.
I would take the Patriots.
Wow.
I would take Tennessee. I think Tennessee has more.
I would lean towards the Titans right now. God.
That's fine. Yeah.
I would take Tennessee.
I like where you're at. I hope you're right.
Washington.
I'd take Washington.
I wouldn't. I'd take the Patriots.
I'd take Washington. I mean, there was a point where the quarterback was leading the league in passing. They are. I think Washington.
That's because hold on. They throw the ball. They throw the ball every down.
No. Howell was doing a really good job. Just turned it over to the other team too many times.
He was attempting.
Forgot what color jerseys. It happens.
Attempting passes.
Sometimes you forget what color
pass attempts a game. Of course, he's almost leading the league.
They were doing a much. When I watch the New England Patriots, I try not to watch them.
They're not. Look, they're not good.
They are terrible.
See, that's where I'm. Carolina's terrible.
Like when
Carolina is
they are
terrible.
A step above.
Tennessee's not good.
Tennessee is much better than
That's a stretch.
No, they are much better.
No,
I can't let you talk about my Patriots like that.
Who's playing receiver for New England?
You know that guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Who's playing receiver for Tennessee outside of DeAndre Hopkins?
That's all you need to know.
They got D-Hop, right? They got D-Hop, and that put them over the top.
That definitely helped.
No, it didn't.
They got Derrick Henry. See, here's my thing. When you watch a football game,
always comes back to the running back.
No. When you watch a football game, I look at it from a player's perspective, right? So when we would sit in our meeting rooms prior to the week of preparation, there are names and numbers that are circled.
Sure.
Who in the hell are you? And these are the guys that you must know where they are at all times.
Yeah.
In Tennessee, you're going to at least circle two numbers. You're going to circle DeAndre Hopkins. You're going to circle Derrick Henry. on offense, who the hell are you're circling Bailey Zappi?
Nobody.
No. What the hell do I care what Bailey Zappi does? You know what, guys? The meeting room, guys, we just need to play our game. We go out there, take care of our business. No matter what they do, we are in control of this game.
Right.
They can do whatever the hell we don't even really need to watch film this week because whatever they do, whatever they did last week, they ain't going to do this week because that week stunk.
Shame on you.
And that team that you just described, Carey, and that team
is terrible.
Went into Buffalo last week when everybody's calling the Bills the most dangerous wild card team ever known to man. That team went in there and nearly beat them.
They returned a kickoff to start the game.
That's a big kick.
And they handed Buffalo turnover after turnover after turnover and still had a chance to win.
Bailey Zappi had 209 yards and 3 interceptions.
You know what? We're going to get to your guy, Justin Fields, too. And still almost beat him. If you want to throw out some statistics, let's get into Justin Fields later, Carey.
Let's do it.
We got to get into the Gauntlet next, though. Here in the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Gentlemen, we're just talking about the NFL coming to an end, and makes me a little bit sad because I love playing FanDuel, America's #1 sports book with the NFL. We realize there's other sports available, but man, I love the NFL. And right now, new customers to FanDuel get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when they place a $5 bet. All that means, guys, is that they get $150 in bonus bets whether they win or lose.
Yeah, and you got to get on the app. It's super easy to use. There are so many different ways to bet, like the live game, same parlays. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, and which is the best way to find popular parlays and many more. So visit FanDuel.com/fast and make your first bet a layup.
I can't believe this is win or lose, guys. I mean, who else is doing this but FanDuel? I mean, come on, win or lose. FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL, but as Carey said, FanDuel.com/fast is where you're going to find all the action and make sure that you get signed up to get the $150 in bonus bets, win or lose, again, courtesy of FanDuel. You must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Warriors, 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you master the Gauntlet?
Brought to you by Master, your hometown source for business communications for more than 30 years. Visit masstour.com.
4:05, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter, and we welcome back Ben for round 2 of the Gauntlet. What's up, Ben?
Hello, how are we doing?
Doing all right, Ben. You're all business, it seems like.
Very business-like.
Yeah. Carey's still disgusted.
I'm bothered.
Carey's still disgusted.
I hold grudges, Ben. Don't worry about it.
Ben, not a good place to be, Ben. All right. Would you like to take on Marsh, Jamie, or me in round 2?
We'll go with Mr. Rivers today.
All right.
Oh.
All right.
Feeling good about yourself, eh, Benny boy?
A little bit.
All right, I don't blame you. Good luck, buddy.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, as Jamie makes his way into the cone of silence, Ben, go ahead and tell Marsh to spin that wheel.
Spin that wheel.
I'm assuming anything but hockey here, Ben?
Yeah, same as yesterday.
Same premise. All right, let's see. He usually gets football. And Jamie's going to get football again.
Yeah.
We got back-to-back football. When you eventually face me, then you'll get your hockey fix in, Ben.
Yeah, that's later.
Yeah. All right, so we got the launch codes. Thank you, Marsh. 4 football questions. All worth 2 points unless you ask for the options. Then the questions are worth 1 point. Ben, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, question 1. In last year's playoffs, which team defeated the Baltimore Ravens? In last year's playoffs, which team defeated the Baltimore Ravens?
Can I get the options?
The Bengals, the Bills, or the Chiefs?
Bengals, final answer.
All right, Ben, when the Patriots beat the Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53, who was the Super Bowl MVP?
Take the options again.
Is it Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, James White?
We'll go Edelman, final answer.
Question number 3. The Rams made it to the Super Bowl that season after taking down which team in the NFC Championship game, a game that saw a critical and controversial pass interference non-call?
Saints, final answer.
And finally, Ben, which university did Drew Brees play his college football at?
Purdue, final answer.
All right. We'll bring back Jamie from the Cone of Silence. Ben, how you feeling?
I like the second 2 questions more than the first 2.
All right, fair enough. Jamie's making his way back in from the Cone of Silence, putting his earbuds in. Jamie, how was the Cone of Silence? Lonely, huh?
It's very lonely. No Mike Ryder, no music, no ambiance, nothing.
Nice.
Kind of like a little bit of a panic room.
All right, Jamie.
Yeah.
Better pack that lunch.
Yeah, buddy.
Okay.
Football is the category, of course.
I love football.
Is the category.
Love it.
The wheel loves it for you.
Indeed.
Let's go, baby.
Question 1. In last year's playoffs, which team defeated the Baltimore Ravens? In last year's playoffs, which team defeated the Baltimore Ravens?
Okay. Jacksonville won a game, but I don't think it was against Ravens, or was it? Give me the options, please.
Bengals, Bills, Chiefs.
Okay. The Bengals, the Bills, or the Chiefs? Why do I not know this? Bengals, Bills, Chiefs. So Bills played... Bengals, Bills, or Chiefs. I'll go with the... go with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Final
answer.
When the Patriots beat the Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53, who was the Super Bowl MVP?
Oh, wow. Options, please.
Is it Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, James White?
13-3. Can't imagine the quarterback getting that one. I'll go with James White. Final answer.
Question number 3. The Rams made it to the Super Bowl that season after taking down which team in the NFC Championship game? A game that saw a critical and controversial pass interference non-call.
Yeah, New Orleans Saints. Final answer.
And question number 4. Which university did Drew Brees play football at? His college football career.
Oh, I should know this. Drew Brees. I can kind of see it right now. And then I can kind of not. Was it Purdue? Son of a batch of biscuits. I think he was a Boilermaker. I'm just going for it. Anthony Purdue, final answer.
All right. All right, let's go over these. Ben versus Jamie. Category, football. Which university did Drew Brees play college football at? Jamie, you said, I'm just going for it. I think he was a Boilermaker. You said Purdue. Ben, you also said Purdue. Correct answer is Purdue. Purdue. Neither of you needed the options, so we got a 2-2 tie between Ben and Jamie. The Rams made it to the Super Bowl that season. The question before it was talking about the Rams. The Rams made it to the Super Bowl that season after taking down which team in the NFC Championship game? A game that saw a critical and controversial pass interference non-call. Ben, you went with the Saints. Jamie, you went with the Saints. Correct answer is
the New Orleans Saints.
The New Orleans Saints. Neither of you needed the options. 2-2.
You gotta be kidding me.
On that question as well. 4-4
Those were in my
overall.
back pocket, too.
4-4 overall. When the Patriots beat the Rams 13-3 in Super Bowl 53, who was the Super Bowl MVP? You guys both chose the options. You had different answers, though. Jamie, you went James White. Ben, you went Julian Edelman. Correct answer is
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman.
Nice.
So Ben takes a 1-point lead over
Ben.
Jamie. Comes down to this. In last year's playoffs, which team defeated the Baltimore Ravens?
It wasn't the Chiefs.
Both of you took the options. Both of you took the options. You have different answers. Jamie, as you just mentioned, disgusted with yourself.
Completely.
You went with the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Ben, you went with the Bengals.
Yeah.
The other option is the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
If it's the Chiefs, we've got a walk-off. If it was the Bengals or the Bills, Ben advances to the third round of the Gauntlet. Ben.
You have chosen wisely.
It was the Cincinnati Bengals. If you remember, Sam Hubbard had a 94-yard fumble recovery for a touchdown that put the Bengals over the top in that one.
Third-string quarterback or second-string?
It was Tyrod Taylor. It was Huntley. It was
Huntley got hurt. Didn't he get hurt in that game?
He may have.
I think they had a third-string quarterback in. I could be wrong.
Let's see here.
Lamar.
No, that's why
Huntley played the whole game.
Okay. I thought he got hurt.
Ben, congratulations. You beat Jamie. You're going to take on either Marsh or me tomorrow. Nice job, man.
All righty. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Nice job, man.
Wow.
Nice job.
New year, new us, huh? Not
four. At least we added a guy.
Hey, we started off slow last year, too.
We did.
And then we picked it up as the year went on.
We're
Sort of like the Cardinals do. On good years.
Sure, yeah, typically, yes.
Actually, I'd stay away from that.
Let's hope that we're not the Cardinals of last year. They just decided to lose all the way through.
Could be a bad April.
What's trending is next on 101 ESPN. Jamie, you know why I love our guy Stewie?
Why?
Because it doesn't matter what the situation is. He's going to find a way to help save you money. So if you're looking for a new house and you want to make sure that you get the proper loan that's going to save you money up front, call Stewie. If you want to refi or you just want to know whether or not it's a good time to refi, call Stewie. If you're looking at debt consolidation, Stewie's there too. And he's got that old school customer service feel too, Jamie. That's why he hands out his personal cell phone number.
Yeah, he does. And the best part about Stewie is, one, he creates incredible programs for all of our listeners, but he might create a custom program for you. And that's the thing. This is why you have to call him and talk to him, because you might think to yourself, well, there's no way I can afford this home, or there's no way I can win this bid, or I just don't know how I can consolidate all this debt. Stop wondering about that and stop wondering about doing it yourself. Call Stewie. His personal cell phone number is 314-324-4440.
Again, the number is 314-324-4440.
Call him, text him, days, nights, weekends, holidays, doesn't matter. Stewie is our guy. He needs to be your guy. And if you can't remember that number, Anthony, what can they do?
You can always Google the Bagel Loan.
NMLS number 226715.
It's time to find out what's going on in the sports world with What's Trending Now. Brought to you by Goodwill. Donate a car and get tickets to the St. Louis Cardinals.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane here on 101 ESPN. Anthony Stalter, Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis. I'm Andrew Marsh, and it's time for What's Trending. Guys, the World Juniors are going on right now. It also came out today that Minneapolis, St. Paul will host the 2026 World Juniors, so we will get that here in the United States. Sounds like a really fun time and a great way to show off young hockey players, the youth that is right here in the United States, right here on home soil.
Yeah, I wish it was right here in St. Louis. I get emotional talking about the World Juniors, Anthony. I know that there was a push at one point to try and get the World Junior Championship here in St. Louis, and it is great that it's coming back to the United States. I think that it's a fantastic tournament. I think if nothing else, what people have been able to see watching games on NHL Network is just how talented these players are. And it's a fun, emotional tournament. I do think that Minnesota will do a great job hosting it. They call themselves the state of hockey, and they do a great job of supporting a lot of high school hockey and college hockey in Minnesota, as well as the Minnesota Wild. But, obviously this is a little different. But I got to say, I'm still a little bit miffed that St. Louis didn't get the opportunity for this one, and maybe they will in the future. St. Louis certainly has added the facilities that are required for a championship like this. They've got the seating for a smaller game at Centene. They want to upgrade that a little bit. You've got the Family Arena in St. Charles that can handle about 10,000 people. And, of course, Enterprise Center can handle, 19,000 people. So you have the venues available here locally that could support the tournament. But maybe in due time.
Who do we have to punch to make it happen?
Somebody with the IIHF. I don't know who the hell's in charge of that anymore. But
Marsh, get on that, kid.
Yeah, I mean, we had, punch a Red Wings fan in the face day. I think we can maybe make this one happen as well.
Yeah.
So,
good cause.
Does it help us? Or do we just grab them and threaten to punch until he because once we punch him in the face, the threat is gone.
Game time decision on that.
Punching usually works very well.
Yeah, but if someone punched me in the face, I'd say, go screw yourself. No, now you get nothing. Well, then, punch me in the face again. I don't care. You already hit me once.
The threat of being punched again doesn't.
No, because I already took one. I don't care now. Now the worst has already happened.
Something to think about.
Yeah. It is.
Now,
life lessons.
Do we punch them in the face, or do we just simply bring them to the free zoo?
You gotta be careful of that one, Anthony.
In the neck.
In the neck.
Yeah.
The throat punch can be dangerous sometimes.
You could collapse something there.
Well, I'm sorry. Do we want the World Juniors in St. Louis or not?
Are we trying to get the okay from the next man up or that guy?
Either way,
that's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm speaking of passion here. You keep saying, I want it here, and I bring up a solution.
You're trying to do something about it.
Exactly. Thank you, Marshy.
You're the enforcer.
Yeah. Hey, Jamie's over here. What do we want this or not?
You should add that to the Clear It camp. Just like a side camp of how to properly punch people in the throat.
This is why you're my promotions guy.
Absolutely.
To punch you in the throat camp.
We're the Jake Paul and whoever of youth hockey camps.
That's right.
There you go.
Yes. We're going to get this thing off the ground just as soon as we get Synergy Hockey on board.
We don't need them.
We don't even associate my company with that.
Sorry, Jamie. We're not going your direction anymore.
That's good. You know what? Fine. Have it your way.
Don't come begging us to get in on this.
I know you're pretty beat up about
off the
it.
ground.
Oh, yeah. No, we're good.
Go ahead, Mark.
We'll prove you wrong. All right, guys. Man, David Tepper, what a terrible year for that franchise. He was fined today $300,000, not a lot of money for him, for his unacceptable conduct in Jacksonville during Sunday's game, the league announced. In quote, all NFL personnel are expected to conduct themselves at all times in ways that respect our fans.
Just now? Now they're requiring that?
So, I mean, we know something else with an owner happened in Florida, but this time...
that was a little different.
It was a little different.
A little different.
This
didn't cost him quite so much.
Depends on how many times he went.
That's a good point. I mean, are we talking yearly?
It's possible.
Yeah.
Maybe if he's going down there every week.
You never know.
Flying down there, you got to throw some gas.
Oh,
all that.
The private jet, the gas alone.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he threw, a drink on a fan?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was a stupid move. And $300,000, to your point, Marshy, that's like finding the spare change in the cushions of his couch for this guy.
Right.
He doesn't care. There's no lesson learned here. And Stephen A. Smith and those people on, I don't know if it was Get Up or First Take, or one of those shows in the morning, because Stephen A.'s on every single show. So one of those shows, Stephen A. just said, look, at $300,000, it's nothing. But what's the option? You try and take a draft pick away? That's pretty... that's intense.
You're punishing more than just the owner at that point, Carey.
Well, he's the owner of the team, so you should. If your team is punished because you made a stupid act, because you did something, what's the only other thing we can do now? You throw a drink on me, I'm probably climbing in the booth, and we're going to see if your hands work as well as they do when you're throwing drinks. So now let's see if those work in a different way. Because why would you throw a drink on someone? That's there are levels
one, he
of
thought
disrespect.
There'd be no repercussions.
No, he had to.
He wouldn't have thrown that drink on the guy in the face if he's standing right in front of him.
I'm sure of that.
He did it. And then he walked away. He basically scurried away from there.
It speaks volumes. I think you're seeing more of who he is.
Yeah.
I mean, you heard about it. We talked about it with Frank Reich and his comments prior to him being fired. We have meetings every day, and it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's just, this is not an owner that is showing great leadership for his organization and showing what he needs to be doing. $300,000 is not a lot of money, I'm sure, for him. It doesn't matter. Not a big deal. Throw a drink in someone's face. Not a big deal for him. But for the NFL, for as much as you find players for everything, you get fined for so many different things. If this was a player throwing a drink or throwing something at a fan, it would be a much bigger issue.
Can you imagine?
It would be a much bigger issue for
and then the
that
owner
player.
would come down on the player, the league, and then the owner would be shaking his finger. How dare you treat our fans like that?
This is my livelihood.
Yeah.
So, this is my team.
Why? So what do you think should have happened? So $300,000 plus what?
Plus, I mean.
Well, no, that's bad. That's way too much. Yeah, my bad.
That's worse than
a dark place today, isn't it?
That was tough.
The whole three bottle and Mosaic thing.
Yeah, it's on. You know, guys, that's on me.
Whoa!
My goodness.
That was on me.
I think I do think a draft pick at some level, something that really makes him understand this is unacceptable. Like $300,000 again, that's probably not a lot of money for him, but something where you say this type of behavior is not acceptable and cannot continue. You cannot continue to do things, even if it's your first time as an owner. You shouldn't do that to fans of an opposing team or your own team. He probably wants to throw drinks in his own fans' face. As bad as they are,
drinks in his own face.
They got
17
they're
away.
gonna
He's probably doing that anyway.
They're going to finish last and still not get the first pick because they traded it.
Yeah.
Hey, as long as fans aren't throwing drinks at the players, I mean, I can't imagine if something like that ever happened.
Well, Anthony, you were there. Funny how all things.
I got to get out of here.
Back to Anthony today.
Yeah, on that one.
Real quick here, Paul Feinbaum was on ESPN's Get Up, and he suggested that Nick Saban could potentially retire after the loss this past weekend. He said for Saban, it feels like he's very close to the end. He can't stand the transfer portal. He can't stand NIL. And you just have to wonder if that was his swan song the other night. It very well could have been.
No chance.
That dude's a lifer.
That guy's ego's way too big. He's not going out on a losing note.
No.
There is no way.
Nope.
Is he going to go out on a winning note?
He might.
Like, I don't think there's any
He was
level
2
of
games away
satisfaction
from it, Carey.
Yeah, I
That
know,
wasn't
but
even
I'm
his
saying
best team.
I'm saying
I get
not even
what you're
close.
saying.
Like if he wins a championship, is he like, all right, I'm done? No, hell no, I won. I can keep doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what
He's
point
72
does he?
years old.
Yeah, I mean maybe he does.
But
till he's
nothing
80.
nothing drives Nick Saban more than losing, though. Like I think he feels the losses. That gets his competitive fire going, as opposed to him winning. I could actually see him eventually saying, all right, I'm good, I won again, I'm out. But not after a losing season. Well, losing, quote unquote.
Not winning a championship.
Yeah. I mean, there was when he won at LSU, there was the story of he brought in his 2 top players. Can't remember who it was at the time. There was the quarterback and the wide receiver. Right after they won the championship. I'm not talking about a day after. I'm talking about literally right after. Brought him into the whatever makeshift office he had for the national championship. Brought him in, and the 2 players were like, "Oh, okay, he's going to finally give us a little credit, whatever." He goes, "I need to know whether or not you guys are in for next year, right now." Like confetti is still falling, and Nick Saban's preparing for next year. So I don't think Nick Saban goes out.
How about one of the players immediately declared for the draft like 15 minutes
after
the game ended?
Yeah, he's got career aspirations.
Hell of a game.
Yeah. I'm out of here.
I guess a good film.
Been fun.
Yep. All right, Jeremy Rutherford's going to join us next. We'll talk a little Blues hockey here on 101 ESPN.
Have you got a vehicle that you would like to accessorize? I always call it spicing it up a little bit. Well, please head over to Pure Performance, your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications, and they just do such an amazing job. Whether you have an SUV, a pickup truck, a car, a minivan, it doesn't matter. They've got you covered. And if you have a Jeep or a Bronco, my goodness, do they ever have accessories for you? And you have to remember, too, that it's not just oversized tires and wheels and off-road gear. No, they sell tires for all vehicles, no matter what the size is that you're looking for. Everyday vehicles, for that matter. And the best thing for you to do is head over to the 25,000 square foot facility located right there in St. Peter's, right off of Highway 70. When you walk in, though, you have to do me a favor. You have to ask for Shelby and tell her that Jamie Rivers sent you in. She'll ask you what kind of a vehicle you have and what you're looking to do to that vehicle, and she'll point you in the right direction for all the accessories that you're looking for and more. And then the technicians, quite honestly, they are the best in the business for a reason. You get your vehicle back and you will just be wowed with how amazing it looks. And it's a full-service garage, too. So anything else you need while you're in there, they can take care of you. And those are my friends over at Pure Performance. So please stop by and say hi to them. But if you can't stop by in person, stop by online. Visit them at pureperformance.com. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
.101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff. And Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Blues are in action tomorrow night taking on the Vancouver Canucks. Pregame starts at 6. Puck drop is at 7. We'll have all the coverage for you right here on 101 ESPN as the Blues look to snap a losing streak and get back in the win column. We're going to talk about your St. Louis Blues with our Blues insider from The Athletic, Jeremy Rutherford. That's coming your way next right here in the Fast Lane. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is driven by Johnny Londoff. Find new roads and shop 24/7 at Londoff.com and LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
Utes and Nuggets. It's time for the Rutherford Report with our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford. Brought to you by Scott Lee Heating Company, a proud Mitsubishi Electric Elite contractor.
It's Fastline on 101 ESPN with Carey Davis and Jamie Rivers. I'm Anthony Stalter. The Canucks and the Blues get it on tomorrow night. Pregame starting at 6 o'clock. Joining us right now via the 101 ESPN Celebrity Line is our Blues insider, Jeremy Rutherford with The Athletic. What's up, JR? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year to you guys, too. And I'm sure you heard this from other people, but you're throwing me off with Carey in there full time now with a little dark outside. I'm like, what time of day is it?
JR, my first day, I was walking around telling people good morning. I was so confused.
We had to show them how to get out of the studio.
What's going on here?
Carey's like, they lock us in?
My 9:30 a.m. hit, or is this my 4:30?
Yeah. Well, welcome in. So, JR, obviously big news with Colton Parayko going to that second power play. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, we'll see what happens. That's the way they worked it today. I'm sure you guys talked about Torrey Krug taking a maintenance day, and he's been out obviously on one of the power play units as well as Scott Perunovich. But Torrey Krug expected to play tomorrow, and without he and Falk, I think it pushes Colton Parayko into that role. And who knows? Even if Torrey Krug does play, maybe we'll see Parayko in that role a little bit.
JR, Matthew Kessel got his first game of the season the other night, which had to have been difficult. Obviously, no practice with the team. He jumps in on the road, ends up playing against Crosby and Malkin for most of the night. What was your opinion watching him play the other night?
Yeah, Riv, I think he handled himself well. It's funny you asked this question because Lou Korak and Lou does a great job. He's there every day. And when we saw the Kessel call-up, we're thinking, okay, well, didn't think they would need a seventh defenseman to go on a one-game road trip there to Pittsburgh, and then, okay, well, he's playing. Okay, where do you slot him in? And how about Scandella? Maybe he plays in the second pair. Well, Perunovich and Scandella have been playing pretty well together. You probably don't want to break those guys up. Would Kessel play in that second pair? No, not against Crosby and Malkin. And that's what they did. And so I think, he's a guy that Drew Bannister is high on. He's had him obviously a lot down in Springfield and said he looks like he's going to be a big part of this team moving forward. So the Blues don't have many young defensive prospects outside of the ones we've seen, and let alone a good right shot guy. So Kessel stepped in the other night and showed what he could do.
JR, earlier we were talking about Robert Thomas and potentially being a Selke Award winner. What have you seen from him this season and his maturation from playing both ends of the ice?
Yeah, just everything, Carey. I really like the maturation process the past couple of years with Robert Thomas, and he's learned from one of the best in Ryan O'Reilly. I can go back 3-4 years. Obviously, he was part of that Stanley Cup team on the third line. He just stepped into a veteran team, and that's not easy to do. And he came in and played his role, and then slowly but surely kind of progressed to where even when Ryan O'Reilly was here, he was that number one guy. And, they're trusting him with those late in the game defensive zone starts, big face-offs, and he slowly progressed, and now you look at these face-off numbers, and it's just astounding how far he's come in the past couple of years. I'll say this: we're going to hear about the All-Stars, and I don't have any insider information here, but at the beginning of the year, the first month or so, I would have thought, hands down, it would have been Jordan Binnington the way he's playing, but I think you got to lean towards Robert Thomas when they announce the Blues All-Star when that info comes out.
Multiple, though? Could they get multiple?
Yeah, for sure. That could be a possibility. But I think that if they were going to go with one, Robert Thomas, the season he's had in terms of scoring, and I think what he's done, shutting down the other team's top lines, if you picked one, he'd be my guy. But certainly with the way Binnington played early, he was deserving.
What about Colton Parayko?
Boy, you're going to give him a whole team. That's going to be the Blues out in the West.
I would go Parayko ahead of Binnington, personally.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, too.
Yeah, no, I think that's certainly possible. I was under the assumption it's just so hard to get two unless you got a real good team. And so, I'm under the assumption that it would be one. But if it would be two, I think the way that, Binnington has scuffled a little bit here lately, Parayko's kind of had a better season on the whole. So if you did get a two, you could probably go Parayko.
JR, when we're talking about Jordan Binnington, we have to talk about the tandem now in Binnington and Hofer. And I think that, for me personally, this is why Joel Hofer is such an important part to this season. Is Jordan Binnington will have, some ups and downs, and there'll be some fatigue that happens. And the same will happen to Joel Hofer. It happened earlier in the season where he had a couple of games where he was kind of off. But what do you think so far of the tandem of Binnington and Hofer?
Yeah, I think it's what you expected going into the season. Like I said a minute ago, I think sometimes when Binnington plays well early in the season and then kind of regresses a little bit, people forget about, how well he played early, and they say, okay, well, here's the Jordan Binnington that we know from the past couple of years. He's allowed to go through a little bit of a rut too. All goalies do. So I think by and large, he's been what you expected, if not at the start of the season, a little bit better. And then Joel Hofer, I think we kind of knew what to expect from him. He'd showed it in glimpses in his call-ups that he could handle this. And so he did have a rough patch himself, like you touched on, Jamie. But as he himself said the other day, he was just a little too uptight, wasn't relaxing. And, good friend Scott Perunovich told him, hey, let's chill, let's relax. That's when you're at your best. And then he came out of that really strong. So I think for what they got, I think the tandem's been pretty good this year.
JR, the Vancouver Canucks sitting at 24-10 right now, 3 overtime losses. What do the Blues need to do tomorrow to get a W?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. This is a really good team that has really come together this year under Rick Tocchet. I mean, I think people would have said that this team's going to be better, but tops in the league. They skate fast, they make plays. I don't know that you can really evaluate the Blues versus Vancouver based on that game up in Vancouver early in the season. That was a tough travel schedule. And then also, I think the Blues were due for something like that. But tomorrow night, still, it's going to be tough. They've gotten the goaltending the Canucks have, and this is going to start a stretch that I'm sure you guys have touched on of just some high caliber opposition the next month. If you look at it, you got Vancouver tops in the Western Conference on Thursday night, and then you have the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference when you talk about this upcoming schedule with Carolina, the Rangers, Boston, so on and so forth. It's going to be a tough schedule. So we're going to find out what the Blues have here in January, and that should dictate some decisions that Doug Armstrong makes as we get closer to the trade deadline.
JR, great stuff, man. Looking forward to talking with you over the next couple of weeks. So like you mentioned, with this new schedule coming up here, the stretch of games, and I'll certainly dive more into a lot of the ins and outs heading into the trade deadline, too. So appreciate you as always.
Yep, sounds good, boys. Thanks a lot.
That's true. See ya. That's Jeremy Rutherford at JP Rutherford online. If you want to give him a follow, of course, you're probably already doing so.
You better.
The man. Absolutely. I want to throw something at you guys with this upcoming baseball season in wake of what we've seen this offseason. I wonder if you guys are on the same.
With the way you're talking today, I'm a little worried about what the hell you're going to throw at us. Like, it might be something physical, too, Carey.
What's that supposed to mean?
You know what it means.
That's next on 101 ESPN.
Boys, how would you like $150?
Yes, sign me up.
Thank you.
Right now. Well, that's what FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, is offering right now to new customers. So all you have to do is place a $5 bet, and you qualify for $150 in bonus bets, and you get that $150
when you win.
No. Yes, when you win.
Okay.
Or lose.
Really?
What? Doesn't matter.
Wow.
It's just about winning.
And losing.
Either.
But you're always winning with FanDuel.
Jamie, Anthony, the app is easy to use, and there are so many different ways to bet. Like the live game, same parlay, you can do it live while it's happening. You can find your bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. That's the best way to find the popular parlays and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/fast and make your first bet a layup.
With FanDuel, the official partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Illinois. First online real money wager only. $10 first deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So as I saw Yamamoto sign with the Dodgers, which was a layup, over the winter break.
Oh, come on. Who saw that coming?
Literally everybody. Everybody saw it. I had this thought, and I was wondering if you guys had the same thought as I did. Maybe you didn't go quite to the lengths that I did, and who
Probably
does?
not.
No.
As we've seen today.
Yeah.
No kidding. Don't associate us with you until we know for sure what the hell you're talking about.
That's fair. That's fair.
Puncher Stalter.
Yeah.
Let's punch him in the neck.
Honestly, that was pretty light compared to what I was going to do to David Tepper.
Oh, yeah. He's going to off him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Anyways,
that's right.
So after I saw the Yamamoto sign with the Dodgers, I thought, wow, I am so not interested in this baseball season. I am, but I'm not. Like, this is setting up to be...
You're not interested in watching the Dodgers play?
Who win 155 games?
Is that all? Is that all?
Gotta lose a few, right?
It's a couple of tough games.
Couple off days for Shohei and Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts.
You get a couple of days off here and there.
Look, I've heard this argument before, and Karen, probably, I'm sure you've heard the same thing about the NFL. It's so watered down. It's so watered down. You know what? Half the league is still in it, which means that half the fan bases are still in it. They're still paying attention. Marsh is looking at playoff scenarios for his Minnesota Vikings. They're 20, not good.
20 teams got to lose for them to get in.
But he knows
they're still alive.
Go. What are the scenarios?
We need your Falcons to win.
It's not happening.
We need the Packers to lose to the Bears. We need the Buccaneers to lose to the Panthers.
All three of those things.
I think we need another thing to happen too. I forgot. They need to win.
We don't need that. We need the Vikings to win and the Falcons to lose.
Well, Jamie needs that.
Or the Falcons to win
and the Vikings to lose. Yeah. But you know your scenarios, don't you? You're still in. You know your team isn't any good, but you're going to be watching on Sunday.
That's
the thing.
But that's serious crap sandwich.
Seriously, though.
It really was.
This baseball, okay, we've got everybody on the Dodgers, the Braves, and the Phillies. Boy, this is exciting. This is real exciting.
Well, so I'm of the mindset.
3 elite teams.
I agree. There's a lot of money being spent. But the New York Mets, well, no, not here. The New York Mets spent a lot of money. Shocking.
Well, they're like 10th or so on the payroll.
Cool. The New York Mets spent a lot of money last year, and how'd that go for them? That didn't go great. Nope. So it's not a guarantee.
This is on another level.
This is
first of all, the Dodgers are
absurd.
Carey.
This is absurd.
Carey. The Dodgers are already good. The Mets were trying to be good, but they still realize they're the Mets.
Well,
this is the Dodgers.
They still have to play, right? And they still have to play the game.
Sure.
And then there's still, Clayton Kershaw, he's not signed yet, but I'm sure he's going back to the Dodgers. He has to play in the playoffs, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we know how that goes. So anything.
Maybe the fourth guy.
That doesn't matter. You get a win. They're going to be in the playoffs.
I'm not even talking about the Dodgers being good, Carey. I'm talking about three-fourths of the league
not having an opportunity.
This isn't good. This is the death of baseball.
No,
right
that's
here.
what I'm saying.
Rich coming from a Giants fan. No wonder you're so beat up about this. They're in the same division.
I don't care about that. I'm talking about most of the franchises and the fan base is not even having. You wouldn't care by May. You think the Marlins? Are going to care?
There's a picture on the internet of you in McCubby Cove.
Yes, of course there
is. On your
is.
little raft.
I'm superimposed, Marsh, and you know that.
Not even Photoshop.
SpongeBob raft.
I don't think it's as bad as you make it seem. I think that you still got to play the game. Now, I said this time and time again, it's not about the X's and O's, it's the Jimmies and Joes. Mm-hmm. And the Dodgers have a lot of those Jimmies and Joes. They got a lot of guys that are really good at their job. They're professionals, and for a reason. They're all-stars and future Hall of Famers. But they still have to play the game, and you still have an opportunity. No one expected the Diamondbacks to be in the World Series, correct?
Correct.
They were there.
True.
They didn't win, but they were there. So you still have to play the game. We saw all of the teams last season in the playoffs, the really good teams, some of them didn't make it. They didn't have a great playoff season, a great postseason, so much to the point where, it's not fair that they had time off and all these other teams got to play right away. It's opportunities when they present themselves, how well do you do? And there are going to be a lot of teams that have an opportunity to knock off, probably on paper, one of the greatest teams that we've seen in a long time.
Carey, you're right. You're absolutely right. The Dodgers were going to have to beat the Braves and the Phillies.
There you go.
That's going to be tough. It's going to be interesting to watch.
It'll be fun.
But Anthony, I understand your question overall is, is it so tilted that, yeah, you'll watch your team, you watch a game, but you already know the outcome of who will be there come postseason time?
It's like you're completely loaded. I'm more making the comparison to the other sports. NHL parity.
Yeah.
Football, parity.
Oh, but you know what they have that baseball doesn't, right?
Cap. Absolutely.
That's why.
This is exactly. It's getting to me that's getting to that point. Like this is just
unfair.
And I don't want to play the unfair game because even hearing that or saying that makes my blood curdle. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying interest. Your baseball.
Doesn't baseball have a problem keeping people engaged to begin with?
Exactly.
Well,
they're
changing things to try.
Sport.
Right, to try to get people more engaged. What's going to be more engaging than watching Shohei Ohtani and Yamamoto when the Dodgers play your team? You think that people aren't going to show up for those games or watch them on TV?
They will in April and May. We'll see in the second half.
I think they'll still show up. When Shohei came here, we weren't thriving.
You can't use St. Louis, which we go through the gates no matter what.
No.
Oh,
they stopped going through the gates in July and August.
Unless it's a superstar or a former Cardinal, so they can give them the standing up.
They're going to show up for those guys, regardless.
Matt Adams comes to town, you got to give him the old standing up. When Chris Stratton comes back into town, everybody, hey! I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority here, but
let's just not even play the games then.
That's not what I'm saying. God, that's not what I'm saying. Marsh, you're with me. This season's gonna be boring as hell.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So just
watching the St. Louis Cardinals.
Just give them the trophy now.
I'm not. You're making this a Dodgers thing. You're making this a Dodgers thing. I'm making it as a fan thing.
Are you?
Unless you're a fan in Atlanta, Philly, or the Dodgers. I'm telling you right now, your ass is going to be checked out in the second half.
If you are a Cincinnati Reds fan, were you going to be checked in at any point anyways?
That's a proud fan base, despite what the owner says.
Nobody shows
Eli
up
De La Cruz is worth it.
He is. No, he is. But
now
they got a decent team.
And Pittsburgh.
They got Frankie Montas now.
Yeah.
Oh, did they sign him?
Yeah.
Good for them.
I'm surprised the Dodgers didn't sign him.
Pittsburgh Pirates, they're not.
They've already been eliminated.
Hey, they were in first place at one point last year.
Stampeding the Roberto Clemente Bridge to get over to PNC Park.
I was just there. Boy, that park is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Carey, let's get out of the damn Central. You're bringing up Central teams.
Okay, where do you want to go?
Even the Red Sox. What I'm saying is baseball's got a huge problem, and while it continues to think about how big the bases are and shifts and all that stuff, they're not actually concentrating on the real issue.
And there will never be a salary cap in Major League Baseball.
No chance.
There will
You're
never
absolutely right.
be. Though their union is greater than I think all unions combined. I can only speak for NFL. I don't know how great the NHL union is.
Well,
Major
Carey,
League
we have a
Baseball.
salary cap, and we missed a whole damn season for the salary cap.
Greater than all.
Keep looking for a way around their own salary cap. That's how much they disrespect the Players Association.
It's probably Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL, and then NFL in terms of unions for how players are. They're not ever going to have a salary cap. So we're always going to be where those that have the most can spend the most.
This year seems different, though.
Well, because they spent $1 billion, didn't they?
On two players. Not the whole team, Carey. Not the whole team. Two players.
Unbelievable. All right, maybe I'm wrong on this.
You know what, though?
Probably.
I won't be in June, though.
We're gonna get somebody at the deadline. We'll get someone at the deadline.
Yeah, you're going to get Rich Hill at the deadline.
Oh, my gosh. You beat me to it.
You're going to get Rich Hill.
How old is Rich now? 44? 57.
It doesn't matter. He's going to be a Cardinal.
All right. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. All right. Sports Six Pack is next. The Air Comfort Service tax line is 314-399-9646. Again, 314-399-9646. We'll do our Sports Six Pack next.
Hey, it's Carey, and if you're a man that's been waking up frequently in the middle of the night to use the restroom, maybe you're unable to go, feeling like you need to go often, but just can't get it going, you need to visit the Midwest Institute for Non-Surgical Therapy. You could be suffering from a benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH, also known as an enlarged prostate. You know, getting up and not being able to go, extremely frustrating. We understand. Dr. Akinwande understands it meant STL, and he has the solution, and the solution is called prostate artery embolization, or PAE. It's a groundbreaking, minimally invasive procedure that treats BPH. It has lower risks of complications, no hospital stay, no sutures, scarring, or general anesthesia, and you will feel relief very quickly, and you will be able to resume normal activities within a couple of days. Get it going. See how they can help you out. The best part about it is it's covered by most insurances. Reach out to Mint STL today to schedule your appointment. That's MINTSTL.com, MINTSTL.com, and tell them Carey sent you.
It's time for the Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
The Sports Six-Pack is now.
5:01, your time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler with Carey Davis. What's up, CD?
Rich Hill is 44. I just wanted to get that out there.
Oh, okay. All right.
He's available, though.
And he's going to be?
St. Louis Cardinals.
That's correct.
All
there
right.
we go. Yep.
Let's go.
All right, here's Marsh with your questions for the Sports Six-Pack.
Question number 1.
From the 314, hey guys, does this year's Mizzou team beat the Chase Daniel-led 2007 Mizzou team?
Wow.
I'd have to look at that roster. I was not into Mizzou football at that time. I was actually.
That was the 2007 Missouri team?
Who was all on that team? I know, obviously, Chase.
Chase Daniel. Let's see here.
You had Jeremy Macklin.
Okay.
I believe who's the running back?
Yeah, Jeremy Macklin was he's a freshman on that team. Let's see here.
Let's see what
Henry
was
Josie
place.
Wasn't the running back at the time, was
Willie
he?
Moe was on that team. Tony Temple.
Tony
Temple was the running back.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm probably
Vanderhood was on that D line.
Recency bias is
Spoon was a linebacker.
Hood was the first round draft pick, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he went to Pittsburgh. He was my teammate, pretty sure.
I think that, Ziggy Hood did.
Ziggy. No, it's not the same person. Okay. Well, no, I would say that based on what this team has done, and I would assume in a much tougher conference in the SEC, that they had a really good season this year.
I think this defense for the 2007. No, and this is no disrespect to the current defense. The defense played well, but
William Moore.
When you got Spoon, Willie Moe, Ziggy Hood, that's a pretty stacked defense. Darnell Terrell, didn't he play in the league? Maybe not. Yeah, he did.
I think so.
Played with the Browns for a season. Anyways, I think that the defense for this 07 team was better.
You seen that offense of Mizzou displayed, especially in the first half of Ohio State game?
Oh, stop it, Gary. We get your points. Denario Alexander's on that team, too.
Shot. They played a really good game. They had a good season.
Oh, so
back off on me, people.
Nobody's buying what you're selling anymore.
I think they did really good.
William Franklin was
Frank,
a
Franklin, yeah.
It's a really good team.
I'm going to go with Mizzou.
Which one?
Either one.
Chase Kaufman was on that team.
Yeah, there you go.
Question number 2.
From the 636, if one of your teammates were asked what you were like in the locker room, what would they say?
Pretty sure that was directed at you, Carey.
I was pretty chill, laid back. You know, I don't think I was extremely serious. I did threaten to beat the hell out of a guy at his locker one time.
What was his name?
He was running back.
Were you going to punch him in the neck?
It was Kevin Barlow.
Really?
Oh, yeah, it was bad. But we ended up being good friends after that. Had some understanding. No, I think my teammates would say...
What happened? Was it on the field or off the field?
What happened was, Kevin's a great guy, right? They brought in Kevin. I was still playing running back at the time, and Willie Parker was our starter. Najee Davenport and myself were fighting for the number 2 spot. They brought in Kevin Barlow, and he just kind of jumped over Najee and myself, and I was like, yeah, that's not okay. So I had a conversation with the coach. We talked about it, and so after that practice, he was after Najee and myself, and he was like the 3rd/4th running back. He didn't take too kindly to that and said something, and then I said something, and then we said something, and then I said, okay, let's handle it like men. And we got an understanding. We didn't fight, but it was an understanding.
Gotcha.
So I think my teammates would probably say, you know, it's intense, but, you know, I have fun. We all gonna have fun.
Yeah.
Lay back, chilling.
There you go.
Just leave me the hell alone.
What about you, Anthony? What were you like in the dugout?
What teammate were you?
I think I was a very supportive teammate. You know? I was an athletic supporter, some would say.
No.
I can't compare. When they start talking about playing in the NFL or when Jamie gets back in the NHL.
I want to know about your youth days.
I can't sit here and with a serious face and tell you what I was like as a teammate when I was in high school and for one camp in college when they told me I was a second baseman and I looked at them and I said, I'm a shortstop. And they're like, not with that arm.
I think a lot of people would like to know what kind of teammate you are for the men's league softball.
Are you the rah-rah guy? Are you
directing people? Are you bringing drinks? You bringing the cooler?
Are you the guy when you're down, you're still pumping guys up? Or are you like, hey, guys, this sucks. This stinks.
No. Yeah, I lift them up.
Well, I probably am not.
No?
Nah.
You got poop in your drawers?
Well, we were my senior year in college, we went 1-11. We were pretty terrible.
That's tough.
And so we were playing Michigan. This is probably the 6th, 7th game of the year, 6th game, because after that we were no longer bowl eligible. And one of my teammates was like, hey, CD, I was a captain. Hey, CD, you go talk to the guys. I had my headphones on. And he kind of came over my shoulder, looked back. I said, man, y'all let me down every time.
You're a captain, huh?
I was over it. I was sick of it. I was tired of losing. This is before the game. I said, man, y'all say something for what? Y'all let me down every damn time.
Did you guys win that day?
Hell no. No, we won the first game of the year and didn't win. No, second game of the year. We lost to Mizzou that year.
Who'd you play in the second game? Like Eastern Michigan?
Illinois State, man.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it's a bad season.
All right, so you played 4 years at Illinois?
Well, yeah, 5 if you count the red shirt. So the red shirt played for 5 years.
Did you ever beat Michigan?
Yeah, we beat them my freshman year, and then that was the only loss we had in 2001 when we won the Big Ten.
That was the Rose Bowl year?
Sugar Bowl.
Oh, Sugar Bowl year.
Rose Bowl was at the that was the national championship game there.
Okay, got it. All right. So you guys beat Michigan. Did you guys beat Ohio State?
Yeah, I went 2-2 against Ohio State.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Who's the team that gave you trouble in 4 or 5 years?
I mean,
like
Michigan.
Consistently.
Michigan. We were in every game, I think, at Michigan. We had some good years, man. We just stunk that last year. It was bad. Lawrence Maroney, and I just saw Lawrence a couple weeks ago. He and Marion Barber. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And then they didn't run the ball the whole second half. Neither did Northwestern. And Northwestern was down at halftime. They didn't run the ball. They didn't pass the ball the whole second half. They were losing at halftime to us. Northwestern was.
Wow.
And ran the ball every play. Every play, Anthony.
Wow.
The second half, and they won.
Oh, boy.
You got to run the ball.
Got to run the ball. Marsh and I have been talking about that for a while now.
Run the football.
Yeah. Lawrence Maroney and Marion Barber, Minnesota. Okay. Good stuff. Go ahead, Marsh.
Question number 3.
From the 618, when Major League Baseball goes to 32 teams, what 3 other teams would you like to see in the division, regardless of American League or National League? What would the division be called? Old NHL style.
Say that again. Run that back for me.
So, like, the whole question or the second half?
Whole question.
Okay. So when Major League Baseball goes to 32 teams, what 3 other teams would you like to see in the division, regardless of American League or National League? What would the division be called? And this texter references the old NHL divisions where they were called different names.
Like the Norris.
The Campbell, all that stuff.
I want Houston back.
What about KC?
Okay.
What about KC and the White Sox?
Okay.
You get both Chicago teams.
And Houston. Can we get Houston? You said three teams, right?
just for nostalgia purposes.
I'm good. They're very competitive.
Yeah, they're too good. They can't play in the Central. Carey, what I'm thinking is
we want Kansas City.
If the
White
current
Sox who suck.
Yeah, if the current Cardinals are gonna, the front office, if we're gonna operate this way, we have to continue to take advantage of bad divisions. So give me the White Sox, give me the Royals, and give me the Tigers.
Well, what about a new team too? If they expand, we'll take a new team.
Absolutely.
We'll take
Kansas City, White Sox, the White Sox, and the expansion team. Okay.
Yeah.
The Nashville.
I don't like how this is going.
Nuts.
Hey, we just got to win the division.
I don't like how this is going.
Well, Carey,
this is the plan.
Listen,
this is what we deal with.
If you're not,
I think it's a great plan.
If you're not going to actually compete in the offseason,
I don't think it's a great plan.
I think it's good for this team.
We get the Astros back. As competitive as they are.
That's great. We'll never see the Cardinals win again. Thanks, Carey.
You don't like it, play better. My theory.
Yeah, it typically works. And then you get last year. You stink. Marsh, to answer your question, give me the White Sox, give me the Royals, and give me the Nashville Lug Nuts.
The Nashville Lug Nuts.
Yeah, and call it worst division in ever, Bob.
Oh, man.
Well, if Nashville had a team other than the Lug Nuts, what would you call them? Like, if you had to be realistic, you're starting the team.
Nashville Live Music.
The Nashville Live Music.
Mm-hmm. The Nashville Lives.
What about like the Nashville?
It has to have something
strings
with music.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's actually too minor leaguey.
The Nashville.
It has to be something with music, right?
I would think so.
Yeah. We see if Brooke would have a great answer. She's from Nashville.
Yeah. Although the Titans and the Predators have nothing to do with music.
Nope.
This is true. There you go.
There used to be Titans that used to roam the earth. Mm-hmm. They lived in Nashville. That's why. That's where that comes from.
Did they actually?
Absolutely. Yeah. The Titans.
Yeah.
The Titans.
Remember the Titans?
Yes. Well, the Titans were before the Greek gods.
Yeah.
It's who the gods looked after.
Why they have Derrick Henry on the roster.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
So the Nashville. It actually makes sense. The Titans.
That does make sense.
Yeah. It took.
They all ties together.
Mm-hmm.
And the Kraken too. I think the Kraken were in that.
Well,
in
the
that
Kraken
documentary.
lived in
Pacific
exactly
area.
in
the Pacific Ocean.
North.
Yep. That's where it came from.
Yep.
Right across the water.
And the Mariners were fishermen. They used to have to worry about the Kraken.
Yeah,
That's
true.
And the Seahawk used to look
fly.
up. Yeah.
Give the Mariner an update that it was coming.
sure.
Yes, exactly. They'd look up. The Mariner would look up, and they'd see that Seahawk and go, "Oh crap! This Kraken is about 2 to 4 miles off the coast here."
What did the Supersonic ever do?
Well, they didn't. That's why they don't exist. They didn't belong.
The Nashville Notes. That's a good one.
That is good. Yeah. I think we covered a lot of ground there.
I think so.
Marsh, you want to throw another question out?
Yeah, why not?
I feel like we're doing
Question
good here.
number 4.
Nashville Lug Nuts. How about it? From the 618, if you're the Chicago Bears head coach, Matt Eberflus. With your job on the line, do you really want to start over with an unproven quarterback, or do you keep the guy you've been able to win 7 games with, 8, after you take out the Packers? Let's go. And take Marvin Harrison Jr. to give him a third weapon and use your other picks to help your offensive line.
Let's get into this next, okay, Carey?
Because you would take Justin Fields today in Atlanta.
That's a low bar. And you know it.
It's another team.
It's a low bar.
It's an NFL team.
Yeah, with 2 guys that... I don't want to disrespect a former Cacaw, all right? Taylor Heineke's doing the best he can.
There you go.
Desmond Ridder, I don't even know if he's doing the best he can. I wonder if he's throwing games, you know?
Not that bad.
He went in the last week, he immediately threw an interception.
I don't want to be out here anyway.
Hike threw it literally to a bear. As if the bear was a part of the route.
They just forgot what color jersey they were wearing.
All right, let's get into this next. I was going to go on a little mini rant there about taking the wide receiver first, but we'll save it. All right, Justin Fields. You keep him if you're the Bears. Carey says yes. I say no. That's next on 101 ESPN. It's a fast lane on 101 ESPN. So we got the question in the Sports Six Pack about if you're Matt Eberflus, what do you want? Do you want to start over a quarterback? Or you want Justin Fields?
Wait,
let's just start with Matt Eberflus.
Do you have the head coach job?
Yeah.
That's
keep it.
That's the most important question.
Yeah.
Are you still the head coach?
You may not be the head coach after the national championship.
Yeah, but
just
not.
saying.
Quite possibly.
Look, if you're Matt Eberflus, you probably want to stick with Justin Fields. You don't want to start over with. But if you're the Bears and you have the number 1 overall pick, which they do, somebody said, well, why don't you just give – I've been hearing this argument. Why don't you just give Justin Fields Marvin Harrison Jr.? As if Marvin Harrison Jr., who's a tremendous talent, he was the Ohio State offense this year. Carey says otherwise, but he was the offense this year for Ohio State.
He matters.
Great player. But to add just another wide receiver to the mix is not going to solve things. You know when the Bears got better? When they started playing better defensively. This notion that adding a wide receiver to any young quarterback is if that's going to fix everything, I think is part of the fundamental problem with roster building in the NFL. It's like, hey, the guy's protecting you. You're looking out your ear hole constantly, but you know what? We got you a bunch of wide receivers who are now pissed off because you're not getting them the ball. Build an O-line, build a defense if you really want to support the quarterback.
I agree. And that's the reason why I don't feel like you move on from Justin Fields. I think it's you're playing a game that is unfortunate and not going to work out in the right direction. If you're Matt Eberflus, you've been there, what is this, his third year now, fourth year?
I think it's his third.
So starting over, you're not going to even get to see the best version of the quarterback that you start over with because you're not going to be good. There are too many holes on that roster that they need to fill. You had the first overall pick. You're going to end up with a probably top 10 pick because of your draft pick. You got Carolina's pick. You can move back in the draft and add more value and still maybe get Marvin Harrison Jr. if you move back, depending on how the chips may fall. I just don't think that starting completely over for this team makes the most sense because if you get rid of Justin Fields and draft a quarterback number 1 overall, you're still going to have deficiencies in so many other positions. Who is he going to throw the ball to? Who's going to be blocking for him? Who's going to run the ball for him? What is the defense going to look like? It's going to be the same issues. Justin Fields is going to not cost you a lot of money. He got 1 more year, I believe, on his contract. Then he'll be his 5th year, and then you can re-sign him to something that is much cheaper than what Daniel Jones got or some of these other quarterbacks have gotten. It makes no sense for me to start over with a young man he has a lot of talent.
Is he cheaper than Michael Penix Jr.?
No. No, but you can get more. You can get more if you keep him.
Can you though?
You can. If you move back in the draft, you will have whatever you want.
So, Carey, let me ask you this. And I know that we started this conversation yesterday, pretty much. It's been a carryover, but I found it interesting, nonetheless, to continue this discussion. So you move back in the draft.
Yes.
Okay. You get a couple of pieces that maybe you wouldn't have, or an extra piece that's significant, and then you fast forward a year down the road, and Justin Fields isn't your guy, but your team has been just good enough now to get away from a high pick. So now you've gone to like 6-7 wins in a season. You still suck. You don't have the quarterback that you need. But now what?
You go back and find him in the draft because
you're just pissed away your highest picks now.
No, well, yeah, but at the same time, your team is much better. You are in a much better place to
without
win.
a quarterback, though.
You know how many teams have everything but not a quarterback? It's a lot of them.
So how important would you say, percentage-wise, is a quarterback to the success of an overall team? Like, I know it's not everything. You have to have all these other pieces. I get it. But the quarterback, if you have receivers and you have running back.
Part of me wants to say,
but you've got no quarterback.
50%.
Okay.
It's that important.
Okay, so that goes right back to my original
But that means
comment.
you can have an elite quarterback and not have anything. The New York Jets are probably a perfect example. They have a lot other than the quarterback.
But they don't have the quarterback.
They don't have the quarterback. But
You're not,
yet. You ruined my point earlier with Zach Wilson. Damn you, still.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
If you're going to hang on stuff, fine.
But what I'm saying is Zach Wilson was taken high. There is no guarantee He was taken high in the draft. You could take Michael Penix Jr. He might not be what you need him to be. You could take Caleb Williams. He might not be what you need to be. Even if you have a great roster around him, if you have a trash roster around him, it's still going to be bad. So for me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense to go out and have to get rid of a guy that I think is going to be, at some point, this is his 3rd year. He still got 2 more years. You got his 4th year and then his 5th year option, which you will pick up if he does well. And then you give yourself 2 more years to figure this out. In that time, there will be another quarterback that will be the elite quarterback, and your team is better. Now, Eberflus might not be there to see it, but that's a him problem, not a Bears problem.
But your team will be out of the running on that next quarterback because you'll be just good enough to not put yourself in a great draft position. And now, the second part of this
they're in that position right now, though, with their own record.
I agree. But at least they have somebody else's pick at the top of the food chain.
That's the key.
They won't have that 2 years from now. So where I go with it, though, Carey, is there's no guarantee in the player that you draft, right? There's no guarantee in the quarterback, but there's no guarantee in whatever else you're going to pick up in that draft because you're trading down to get more. There's no guarantee. Now, you're increasing your odds because you're getting more players, but there's still no guarantee.
Correct.
So I just go back to this situation in particular, not every year. I'm talking about this situation in particular for the Bears is unique to the fact that they have a high pick because of somebody else, and they have their own pick it's still a relatively high pick. This is the year for me where you say, you know what, we're going to right the ship and move on. And just because the if is the problem I have with Justin Fields. And I know you get that with a young player too, but you're kind of starting the clock back over without having to pay them a whole ton of money. Good money, don't get me wrong. And so if we really believe Justin Fields is like a fine wine and he's going to just keep getting better year after year after year, or is he really just a bad wine that's going to year after year after year, now it's just going to spoil and you can't even drink it?
I think he's going to continue to get better. I mean, he's played in 12 games. He's got 2,400 yards passing, 630 yards rushing. He's going to have over 1,000 yards rushing if he plays an entire season.
He's not a running back.
He's not a running back.
And injury is greater. You know this.
They said the same thing about Lamar Jackson. He's on his way to an MVP caliber season.
He been injured?
He's on his way.
Justin Fields is not Lamar Jackson.
He is not.
He never will be.
I don't think.
Never. I will bet my paycheck on it.
Will he be a 2-time MVP? Probably
no
not.
Chance.
Will he be a Pro Bowl quarterback?
Well, anybody can make the Pro Bowl.
No, I'm talking about the real Pro Bowl before everybody gets injured.
It's a flag football game now.
Before everybody gets injured, when they actually pick the players, not after 14 guys opt out. Don't electrocute yourself, sir.
It'll happen again.
Or go ahead, it's fine.
You know what, Carey, I'm with you now. Screw this guy.
There you go.
He doesn't mean it.
I want Justin Fields to get an opportunity in a good system, under a coach that knows what the hell is going on. If it's Eberflus, maybe you run it back one more time and give him a chance. If you go in a different direction, I think the Bears have so many needs that going out and drafting a quarterback first overall puts you in the same position 3 years from now. They'll be looking for another quarterback because they never fixed anything else around them.
And I worry that you're in the same position by keeping Justin Fields. 3 years from now, you're no further ahead. That's
your team will be better.
I think the fact that we're still having this conversation is all we need to know. I mean, if the Bears had Justin Herbert or they had Patrick Mahomes, there's no conversation here. But we continue to have this conversation. They certainly could have.
Who did they take?
Mitchie Football.
Mitchie Football, backup third string. He's third string quarterback in Pittsburgh.
Well, now they wanted him to be the starter.
Pittsburgh quarterback.
Fields has an injured starter.
This team made it to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Because they had a lot of people around him.
And a Hall of Fame kick returner and a defense.
That's the point.
Great defense.
Team, they need to improve in other areas.
Well, they do, but if they don't get the quarterback, if the quarterback position isn't right, to Jamie's point, it's not going to matter. It's
but
just
if
not.
everything else isn't right, I mean, to me,
you have to have a quarterback.
You think Rex Grossman's better than Justin Fields, or was?
No. But are you going to get the one of the best defenses? I mean, Marsh, that defense for the Bears the year that they went was one of the best. I mean,
Michael Brown.
That's what I'm saying. Teams couldn't get to midfield deficiencies.
They had some guys.
Other than Justin Fields.
Marsh, though, a year ago with the Cardinals, it didn't matter who else I had. I didn't have pitching.
This is why.
I hope they suck next year.
This is why I don't agree, because the Cleveland Browns, you all have told me that they could potentially make a run to the playoffs. Is Joe Flacco?
I said they can win in Jacksonville, which is not a stretch.
We've had plenty of people text in saying the Browns are the AFC champions and going to the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm not drinking yet, so I'm not saying that.
I'm just saying.
This is water.
Okay, until 6:01. If you have
6:20.
Okay.
A
stellar defense and guys around you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you could play anybody at the position, but it is so rare to find a C.J. Stroud in the draft. It is more likely you get an Anthony Richardson who looks really good, but maybe he gets hurt. It's more likely you get a Bryce Young who goes first overall, and he looks like this is the worst football he's ever been a part of in his entire life. To find a C.J. Stroud is rare, and that's the reason why I'm saying if you're going to draft a quarterback, it is hard. The Bears took Mitchell Trubisky over other people. Oof. It's hard to hit. Someone in that office said, this is our guy. This is who we want. He is going to be the future. No, he's not. He's not even going to be on the team in a few years. He's going to be somewhere else.
When you watch him, do you see somebody?
When I watch Justin Fields?
Yes, from a passing standpoint, Carey, do you see somebody that is going to be a franchise quarterback?
When I watch Justin Fields, I put that on. I need to see what I saw in the preseason from Justin Fields. I loved. You know why? Because they got the ball out of his hand really quickly.
Preseason?
In the preseason. That's because that's what
he threw sideways.
He threw it. It doesn't matter. He threw it to get it to my guys.
I can get Mitchie football to throw sideways.
No, you can't.
Well, he did. He just threw sideways out of bounds.
There you go.
Couldn't throw the ball to the left side of the field.
Yeah, be a little bit more accurate.
I can get Desmond Ritter to throw
Gardner
sideways.
Minshew.
Yeah, but there's usually a player. There's usually a player right there.
This is just my opinion here. Justin Fields.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. I want to see what they decide to do because.
Yeah, they got a big decision here.
They do, and I think you give them another chance. If Justin Fields was in Atlanta right now, Atlanta would be a playoff team. No questions asked.
If Joe Flacco was in Atlanta, they'd be a playoff team.
That's true. That's a true statement. Unfortunately.
Can he hand the ball off to Bijan
Rudolph
Robinson?
was in Atlanta, they'd be a playoff team. That's how bad the quarterback position is right now in Atlanta. When I watch Justin Fields, we can talk about the Atlanta game, 268 yards. But you go back, against Arizona, bad defense, 55.6% completion. He threw for 170 yards. 166 against Cleveland, a 47.5 completion
Cleveland
percentage.
is a good team.
57% completion percentage against Detroit. I saw Dan Orlovsky's tweet. Jamie, you had shared it. Bears top 10 in defense and top 10 in offense. So since he got back, okay, the completion percentage is way down for this kid. He can't. I don't think he can read a defense. And the defense, the key there is the defense got better. The defense got better in the second half, so the Bears got better in the second half. You want to play?
73% completion percentage against the Minnesota Vikings, Marshy.
Come on now. That was a great game. You know what?
That was probably the worst game I've ever watched. And then I watched the Vikings play the Raiders, and then that became the worst game I've ever watched.
He threw for 5.9 yards per attempt.
Okay.
5.9.
Get the ball out your hand quickly, man. What are you missing? Did I just say that?
Jeez, Carey, you're lowering your standard.
Get the ball out quickly. Get it to your guys.
5.9.
Right now.
Lowering your standard.
Jamie under center, you throw 5.9.
Throw it. Get it out.
Left-handed.
Get it out your hand. Get it to your guys.
All right. Biggest question of the day next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
I'm Andrew Marsh. It's time for a Sports Center update brought to you by Selke Heating and Cooling. The Blues take on the Canucks tomorrow night. Pregame starting at 6. Puck drop is at 7. You can catch all the action right here on 101 ESPN. We talked earlier today with our guy, Jeremy Rutherford, the Blues insider right here from The Athletic. If you missed that interview, make sure you go to 101ESPN.com or check out the free 101 mobile app. Head to our podcast page. You'll find all of our interviews and full shows there. And it's all brought to you by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. We have our biggest question of the day coming up next. I'm Andrew Marsh, and the Sports Center update is brought to you by Selke Heating and Cooling, independent American standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day.
Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Anthony Stalter's a Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Marsh, biggest question of the day. What do you got?
Yeah, we teased this earlier in the show about which player could be a lock for the All-Star game as it pertains to the Blues. So I'm going to throw it out right now, guys. Which player is a lock for the All-Star game? Is it Robert Thomas? Is it Colton Parayko? I know we mentioned Jordan Bennington. If you had to pick one player, which one would it be?
The lock, I think, is the guy that we've been talking about. I think it's Robert Thomas. Really? I think he's the lock.
Yeah, he's the easy pick.
Yes.
Over Colton Parayko.
Beyond that.
Yeah, right now he is.
Okay.
Because you look at a lot of people league-wide, voters and things like that, the people watch the games, they don't necessarily know what they're looking at, and they don't necessarily watch every single game. But what they do is they watch the scoreboard and the guy who's getting the points and the guy who's playing the minutes up front, good face-off percentage, all that stuff. To be a guy like Colton Parayko, and this is what we got into a little sideways earlier on the Norris Trophy, which is the best defenseman. Well, why do you think the player that scores 100 points, but he's minus like 30, and he's a defensive detriment to his team, how does he win the Norris Trophy?
Because they just look at the stats.
They just look
at the person
that.
that's scoring.
They're not really paying attention to the game, right? And so that's the problem with someone like Colton Parayko is, like, you have to watch night in and night out and really appreciate what he's doing. And these people don't. They just don't. That's the hard part, and that's why Robert Thomas, he jumps off the page a little bit more because he's the number one center on this team. Which means, people look, how is he, if he's a number one center, what do the stats look like? Well, he's over a point a game. Okay, that's great. Well, how much does he play? Well, he plays about 20 minutes a game. Okay, but what situations? All situations.
Right.
What's his face-off percentage? Well, it's right up there now. Okay, he's an all-star. Yeah. He's their best player.
I have a question. Do you have a problem with every team being represented? It kind of feels like everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah, so I do, and I voiced my displeasure a couple of years ago with it, not like in a big way or like a platform or anything. I just was like, I think it's kind of, I don't know. I don't think you're getting the best players.
Agreed. There are some people that probably miss out on an opportunity, and those things matter.
But you'd have to imagine, Carey, when you look at this, like Chicago Blackhawks, terrible team. Connor Bedard is probably going to go, and he should.
But he would go whether or not.
But Minnesota
every
Wild,
team was represented.
They've got a couple of guys like Kaprizov. He should go. That's a bad team. And you look at the San Jose Sharks. They're probably the only team that shouldn't have anybody going. To be honest, they don't have any young, like, superstar-ish players. Like the Anaheim Ducks, at least they've got Trevor Zegras and a couple other guys that are like flashy players. When you go to the Columbus Blue Jackets, you still have Johnny Gaudreau, Zach Werenski that can go on defense. The Ottawa Senators, obviously Brady Tkachuk's an easy pick there, Claude Giroux. So most of these teams have a guy.
Right.
It's the odd case where you don't have a guy. And in this case, it's the San Jose Sharks that don't really have a guy. And the Calgary Flames, I'd argue, don't really have a guy.
I don't really think they should be going then.
I don't disagree, but you know how it is.
It gets into the question of, like, do you do what's best for the league, or do you just reward the the guys that should be going. I think for me it would be rewarding the guys that should go.
That earned it.
If you're the NHL, you want Connor Bedard to be in the All-Star game. And not saying that he didn't, but I'm just using him as an example.
Yeah.
You know, so it gets into, okay, what's best for the league? Who should be going? I do think it's a little like in baseball when you've got some reliever on the Pirates and he's the only guy going.
That's what I mean. Like,
really?
Why?
Because he's taking a spot from
someone else that actually earned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
It sucks. But now, I will say this. The NHL picks one representative from every team, and after that is coaches' picks.
Okay.
So to fill out whatever spots are left is coaches' picks.
Mm-hmm.
So the coaches who see these guys on a more regular basis do have a say. That's why some teams do end up with more than one guy there, because they'll look at a team and let's say it's Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. Well, both of those guys are going. Right, so it doesn't matter who gets voted in by the fans and who gets the coaches pick. Both of those guys are going, no matter what. So they try and they do the best they can. I don't know if any All-Star game in any sport is really all that enticing anymore.
Pro Bowl isn't.
Oh boy, I used to love watching the Pro Bowl as a kid, but
I did too.
Awful, man.
NBA was.
Yeah, it was another one.
Are they going back? I think they're going back to East and West this year.
Nobody. Do we care?
I do.
I don't.
Do you?
I do.
Yeah. I used to like the slam dunk competition.
It's terrible.
Then it kind of got a little out of hand.
I liked when baseball had the winner of the All-Star game host the World Series.
You did have something.
Not host
you
the
did
World
have
Series,
something on the line. I'll give you that. You did.
Here, for instance, the Cards, they are not hosting Game 1, Game 2, Game 6, Game 7 if Prince Fielder does not hit a home run in the All-Star game and win the All-Star game for the National League. They won it, and maybe they don't win the World Series.
You shut your mouth, but it's a good point nonetheless. Yeah, because that team, Marsh, they were going to win the World Series. They're destined, team of destiny. That's why if you just get in, you never know.
That's a good point.
That is very true.
Just make it. You can't win if you ain't in.
That's how I feel about the Falcons. You know, if they win and beat the Saints this week, they could.
Oh, boy.
They beat the Saints, and the Panthers beat the Bucks. Guess who's your NFC South champion?
There you go.
Well, actually, that would benefit me, too.
Yeah, and then you'd be in.
Maybe.
And Jamie's slugging a whole bunch of waffles. You know what I mean?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Put some of that maple syrup on there.
Oh,
there
you go. Yep.
Yeah. Canadian maple syrup.
We didn't hook him until the maple syrup. All of a sudden, Jamie's like, I'm in.
Have you ever had maple syrup on a stick?
No.
It's pretty good.
I'm
sure
ridiculous.
you have, Jamie.
Yeah, we have.
Just eating,
Yeah. Get the maple syrup out of the tree, put it on the stick, and then, like up in Canada in the wintertime, you get that maple syrup out, and you make little candies with it with the wax paper because it hardens quick. You make a little maple syrup candy.
Yeah, never had it.
Oh, you see, you can't say no then.
Yeah, I can't knock
you
it.
could say,
That's
never
what I
had
said.
that.
Never
You
had
can't
it.
say no.
That sounds interesting.
Sounds sugary.
Then you chase it down with a little Knob Creek smoked maple bourbon.
Where can you get one of those?
Well, it's easy. And in fact, you can usually find it on sale at dirt cheap.
There you go. All right, it's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. What you missed, criticisms, compliments next.
Fellas, let's make sure you are ready when it's game time, and that means ED pills. That's right, and the medicine shop in St. Charles is your destination for cheap ED meds. Never mind the little blue pill or the gummies and all that stuff. No, Sildenafil has a generic called the medicine shop has a generic called Sildenafil for less than $2 a pill. Fellas, you can't beat that price anywhere. Of course, you need a prescription for that. And they got the full pharmacy right there at the medicine shop in St. Charles. The staff is fantastic. They're always courteous, and they have the answers to your questions. So whether it's muscle pain or headache, or maybe it's flu symptoms or allergies, just tell them what you're going through and they're going to take care of you. I promise you that. And if you have a crazy schedule or you're super busy and you have trouble getting to the pharmacy, let the pharmacy come to you. The Medicine Shop in St. Charles offers free, discreet shipping to your home and your workplace for any regular medicines that you require that you just can't get to the pharmacy for. It's incredible service that I use on a regular basis. So please get in there in person if you can. Tell them Jamie Rivers sent you. If not, get there online. Visit them at stcharles.pharmacy. That's stcharles.pharmacy.
It's the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. Jamie Rivers, Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, I'm Anthony Stalter. If you miss anything from today's show, a lot of fun debate. Carey's rocking his 2024 glasses here. You can always download the podcast available at 101ESPN.com, your 101 ESPN mobile app. I'd
You
wear
had
those
those on yesterday,
didn't you?
Yeah, for like 2 seconds. I couldn't see anything.
You can't see out of these. I
can't see a damn thing.
Hell decided
Well, you're supposed to put them on when you've had a few wobbly pops.
Shit,
Because
when it doesn't matter.
I can see out of one eye, but the two, I believe, is in the way of the other eye. This thing is actually ridiculous.
Hey, how did they make those glasses when there was like a 1 where the 2 should be? Like if it was 2011, like how are you making those?
Moved it over.
They probably moved it a little bit.
One way or the other.
Somebody figure it out. Yeah. The podcast, by the way, is brought to you by Dodge Tire and Auto Centers. What do we got for criticisms and compliments, Marsh?
Yeah, we have a criticism here. Actually, this is more of like a crap sandwich. From the 314, I like the conversations you guys have. If you could stop yelling so much, it would be very helpful. Also, please do not all talk at the same time. It is annoying, and half the time, I can't really understand what you're saying. Too much noise.
I actually...
What do you think?
I agree with that. It is annoying. When we're
I was saying,
I don't understand why you would do.
I'm trying to.
What?
Wait, when I get my. So hold on.
We need to not talk at
okay,
same
go ahead.
time.
You go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, okay, well,
no,
so
I got you.
Hey,
Anthony, what do you think?
It does get annoying for the listener. If you're watching on YouTube, it's different. Well, I'm sorry. Or I'm sorry.
Sorry.
That you feel that way. No, but let's watch that in all seriousness. All right?
We've had one complaint. You're that
we know
guy?
of. That we know of.
Oh, yeah. We check this thing pretty regularly.
I don't think we talk over one another.
Every now and then, but who cares?
I think we should talk more soccer, too.
From the 309.
There it is.
Did I just hear Stalter say just get in about the Cardinals? I guess it's more entertaining to argue opportunistically than with integrity.
First of all, don't fall off your high horse. Second of all, is being sarcastic. Know the show. Unbelievable.
Well, listen, Anthony, truthfully.
I'm the guy that always argues against the whole don't get in there. I say it one time. This guy's like, well, you know.
Here's my.
Did I hear that integrity?
I do believe. Now, last time I checked, I don't know this to be 100% true, but I don't think you can win a championship unless you actually get in.
That's a good point, Carey. You know, I don't know if I've ever looked at it that way.
On the field and off, you know, you just got to get in. You never know what could happen at a job.
You never know. You're right.
You got to get in to win.
It's the goal. The goal is to get in, clearly.
Not the ultimate goal, but a goal.
Well, you can't reach the ultimate goal unless you get in.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Let's be honest.
First of all, Jamie's right. Second of all, how'd that work out last year for you?
We didn't get in.
Exactly.
So we couldn't do anything then.
Exactly.
Yeah. So get in.
Last one here from Tanisha, who is a part of the Snake Pit. I love this show. You guys make sports talk so much fun. Thank you for the laughs.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, it was real nice. You didn't go the whole integrity route when we were just joking. I've been ticked off all day today. I got to listen to Mr. High Horse here.
Integrity?
Integrity. Get out of here. First of all, the show has zero integrity.
That's exactly what I meant.
Respect the
Would you just tune in?
First
zero integrity. First time he tuned in.
High standards, zero integrity.
We love every single one of you that's listening. Thank you for listening. Carey Davis, Andrew Marsh, Jamie Rivers, and Anthony Stalter. You have instant replay coming up now. See ya.